Roll call of the City Council meeting of Wednesday, August 19th, 2026 at 6:30 PM. Council members Titus.
Present.
Brzezinski. Here. Flores.
Here.
Horton. Present. Pohl.
Yes.
Shaw.
Here.
Councilmember Troop is absent.
At this point, we will stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dr. Titus?
Yes.
I would like to mention my friend Lisa Hall Norton, who passed away. We laid her to rest last weekend. She taught for 40 years at St. James School, and 4 of those years were the principal. And her mother, who had predeceased her in death, had taught for 39 years in the Erie School District as a kindergarten teacher. Thank you.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have a motion to accept the minutes from the Wednesday, August 5th City Council meeting and bills for payment on August 21st and 28th. Council members Brzezinski.
Yes.
Flores. Yes. Horton.
Yes.
Pohl.
Yes.
Shaw.
Yes.
Titus.
Yes. At this time, we do not have any presentations this evening. Is there anyone here for a repository sale? Hi. Did you happen to submit any information into the clerk's office prior?
No, I came, I didn't know where else.
That's okay.
I'm going to
That's
need
okay.
a
We'll work
copy
our-
of your license
Okay.
when we get done.
No problem.
Thank you.
So we usually have a few questions, but if you could just introduce yourself and then tell us about the property and then your plans for the property.
Okay. My name is Renee Beckford. My plans for the property is...
Which is, could you know the...
The address?
Yes.
It is 739 East 8th Street. Right? Okay. Oh, do you need the parcel number?
You could give it, but I will tell you I won't know it. But that's okay.
Do you need it? Yes?
We can get that from you after, but if you just give us that physical address, that's actually what's going to help come.
Okay, yes. So Erie, Pennsylvania. My plans for the property is to actually build on it. So to build a one-family residential property there.
There's a list of questions on the podium, if you could
Oh,
answer
on the
those.
podium.
I gave bad instructions. That wasn't
Well,
on you.
it's a piece of land, so it is vacant. Well, not really. I just saw like 2 cars on there and a tow hitch. That's there. The condition of the property is there's a tree in the back, but in the front, the lawn is definitely cut. And like I said, there is 2 cars and a tow hitch on there. So no one lives there. I don't think there's any need for maintenance as of yet, since someone is cutting it. And no, I haven't had any code violations in the last 3 years.
Do you currently reside in the city of Erie?
No, I am from New York, but I've been staying in Lansdowne, PA, for a little bit.
Do you own any other property in Erie?
No.
Do any other members have any other questions?
I mean, not so much a question, just a comment. I know you said you wanted to build a single-family home. I just want you to be very aware that you need to go through the zoning and the city.
I checked with zoning just to see what it was zoned for, and it
Okay.
is residential.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, that's our biggest concern is that we always feel bad when people buy property and then whatever they intend to do, they're not
It's
able
not
to.
zoned.
And then also with the yard currently being maintenance and the vehicles being on there, I'm wondering if a neighboring resident is
Right.
currently using.
Correct.
So you might have to do a little bit of foot ground to, go to the neighbors and find out if someone is using them, to let them
Correct.
be aware that you're going to tow the vehicles, and then you'll probably be responsible for the maintenance of the lawn and
After
then
that, definitely.
snow removal in the future.
Yes.
So, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Titus,
Go ahead.
is there a time frame for having this house?
For, well,
Built?
the person that I'm asking to actually get the money from, he said at least starting maybe December, January, I should be able to start. So, he has an architect that's actually going to help me with the drawings and everything like that they would need.
So what we'll have you do then is we'll have you get your address and stuff up so we can get that, and then there's a packet of information that we'll fill out, and then we can disperse that to council. We won't make a decision today,
Okay.
but that way we've got the information, and then we'll review that as well, and
Okay.
then we'll vote on it next time.
All right, great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I'll just write my name.
Is there anyone else here for a repository sale? Anyone else here for a repository sale? Anyone else here for a repository sale? All right. At this point, I am going to call for executive session to discuss personnel and legal matters. So if council could, we'll head over to the side room here. To our public meeting, just wanted to announce that council met in executive session to discuss personnel and legal matters. And then we have a few moments before our public hearing. Our hearing will start. We have about 5 minutes. We could. Can we go into the hearing, or do we need to wait those 5 minutes? Because the next thing is to open up to public comment, and that's.
I would say, is everyone here for the public hearing that needs to be here? The parties, the 9 Ships party?
City Council reconvened at 6:54 p.m.
I think we can go into it, but and are we going to do the same model as we've done in the past, whereas they will present first, testimony from the public will be second, and then third, council will ask questions of individual people and they can come back up?
Yes.
Okay, I think with that model, I think we're good.
Okay.
We could have people stand, too.
Do you want to call for those who would be sworn in?
Okay, Erie City Council pursuant to Section 306 of Official Ordinance 80, 2005, as amended, cited as the revised zoning ordinance of the City of Erie, and proper legal advertising, will conduct a public hearing at approximately 7 to consider testimony regarding the request for waterfront conditional use submitted by Porter Consulting Engineers on behalf of Enterprise Development Center of Erie County and the 9 Ships Company for the construction of a new 75,000 square foot light manufacturing facility with accompanying office space and site improvements located at 1318 East Lake Road, Erie. Okay, anybody that's going to give testimony, can you please stand and raise your right hand, and the stenographer will give you an oath.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
And then just to remind council, we'll take the testimony, then hear from anyone who is sworn in, and then we'll ask questions at the end. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Cooper Moore. I'm a planner here at the city, and I'm the staff liaison to the Design Review Committee and the Planning Committee. Just to introduce the waterfront conditional use application and inform you that both of the Design Review Committee and Planning Commission have reviewed and recommended the project for a public hearing at City Council. And I'll turn it over to the project team for a short presentation.
Good evening. My name is Jake Yatsko. I'm with Porter Consulting Engineers. This is Ashley Porter. We're here on behalf of the Economic Development Center of Erie County and 9 Ships Company to present 9 Ships Company building and site development for waterfront conditional use. This is at 1318 East Lake Road, which is the former Hammer Mill and International Paper site. Before kind of getting into the application and the drawing package, I'd like to give you a little bit of background of 9 Ships Company and some of our community outreach efforts that we've had prior to this meeting. For those unfamiliar, Nine Ships Company is a parent company of 3 locally established companies here in the county. First is Modular Engineering. They produce and manufacture modular buildings like guard shacks or custom shipping containers. Again, they're at 18th Avenue on the west side of town and Cranberry Streets here in the city. Also, Corporate Glass. Corporate Glass is located at Mill Fair and West Ridge Road in Fairview. They specialize in glazing system fabrication. And the third company is ME Construction. They're an interior fit-out company here that they do a lot of work here in the region. It's the growth and success of each of those 3 companies that had the ownership group reach out to Tina Mangine and the County Redevelopment Authority looking to invest in our region here. And what we have in front of you here is a 75,000 square foot light manufacturing office and warehouse facility, again, in the East Lake Road community. As far as our community outreach, we've worked with the city zoning and the Department of Neighborhood and Economic Development on setting up some information sessions here. So we had 2 information sessions at the Boys and Girls Club over on East Lake Road, one during the day, one in the evening. I thought those were successful. As a result of those, Father Pescaro, who's the pastor at St. Anne's Church at East Avenue and 10th Street, he invited us to one of the Neighborhood Watch Committee meetings, Neighborhood Watch meetings in June. Again, I thought it was a good opportunity for us to give information about the project and to just provide day-to-day operations of what Nine Ships Company would provide. Also like to mention that Father Pesaro, following those meetings, provided a letter of support to our team. I don't know if you have that, Cooper, available.
I can pull it up, and I can also share it with council.
That's it. Yeah, we don't need to go through it now here, but it was a nice letter of support that he provided to us in response of those meetings that we had. With that said, I'm happy to go through the drawings here. Let's see how this works. First plan here is our pre-existing conditions plan. What this does, it gives it shows the former hammer mill and International Paper Site. On the right side of the page is East Lake Road. Underneath the buildings there, running left and right or north-south, is Hess Avenue. And again, you can see here the former manufacturing facility on the site. This is the existing conditions plan. This shows what is there today. On the above Hess Avenue there, we have residential properties. East of that and above that, there is a mature tree and landscape area that is within our property, and then also remnant asphalt and concrete from the former facility. Have here is our proposed site plan. What we're trying to portray throughout this presentation is that we want to give a natural fit in the community and a natural transition between what is residential property on Hess Avenue, and then into what is a heavy manufacturing zoning district on the east side of our property. So what we show here, we are going to, and you'll see more in later drawings, but we have a very natural buffer, which we plan to supplement with landscape berms, trees, some thick greenery to provide some screening.
Before we move on.
Yeah.
Before we move on from that side, I did want to discuss why the configuration is the way it is, why we have a long roadway, a long narrow band to a wider expanding property at the northern end of the property, and for a bit of orientation, just to the up direction on the drawing, or the east of the property, are the 3 stacks from the former Hair Mill International Paper Company powerhouse area. So we're pushed all the way towards the lake because this is a separate property owned by ECDC from the SB3 Heavy Manufacturing Industrial Park. So what they own is a flag-shaped piece of property that has a narrow strip from East Lake Road all the way to the north, and then there's a larger parcel. So they're the only place for building development is in that northern expanded area of the flag. The long, narrow area is the access, the only access to public roadway, and therefore we're utilizing that for the new roadway access. In that narrow strip of property, we have pushed the roadway as far eastward as we can within that property to provide as much buffering to the adjacent Western Hess Avenue residential properties. As Jake mentioned, the area along the northern boundary of the Hess Avenue properties, the southern boundary of this site, there's some mature growth of trees. It's fairly dense. There is an existing chain link fence, which is in various states of repair. And what we're doing with the existing trees are leaving the mature, healthy trees there, and then we're supplementing that with earthen mounds and landscapes to buffer any of the open areas. So there are several open areas which are shown along those northern edge of the eastern edge of the Hess Avenue properties. Those dark green areas to the south, right behind what used to be the Hare Mill Credit Union, which is now the Erie Community College building. So there's some open areas there. The property along East Avenue also is wider at East Avenue than is along the bulk of the northwest direction. So that gives us the ability to push the roadway, hence the roadway being further east as it is on East Lake Road. And then it comes to the west because the property narrows down. So in the full length of that property, we've pushed as far eastward as possible. In the area immediately adjacent to East Lake Road, we do have some landscaping, additional landscaping there. There are some mature trees that we're leaving in that area as well. And then once you move to the northernmost piece, the large flag where the building development is itself, we have a parking area, and the full extent of that parking area is buffered in accordance with the ordinance, but we've gone beyond to provide an earthen mound with a mixture of shrub and tree landscaping so that any parking there wouldn't have headlight glare into the adjacent properties. And to speak to the public outreach, we coordinated with the city planning office with initially to get appropriate contacts and so forth. We made those contacts, initially had a daytime meeting at the Boys and Girls Club, then opened up a separate evening meeting. Both of those were attended by half a dozen initially to I think a dozen or so in the second meeting. And then the neighborhood wash meeting was very well attended. They have not because we were there, I think they have a great attendance normally because people were interested, but they were interested in the development, which we reviewed. There were questions and comments. They were regarding traffic and the proximity to the property line with the driveway. And we explained just what I did explain now about how we've done our best to move within the property that's owned as far away as we can, provide screening where we don't have a natural current screening, and that the traffic, we have looked at excuse me, the traffic movements onto East Ave. That's a 2-lane roadway with a bike lane. So the traffic that's associated with this development is the employee traffic. They currently, at their largest projections at this time, it looks like, which would be 50 units a year. I'm sorry. 50. It would average to about 2 tractor trailer loads a day. So that's material coming in, taking the units out. As Jake mentioned, the units that they produce are modular. It's like shipping containers that they turn into modular units. It could be offices, crane cabs, that type of thing. So it's not a heavy industrial use. It's light manufacturing. This is in the waterfront district, of course, which we think serves kind of as a buffer or transition between the residential zone and the heavy manufacturing zone of the SB3 industrial park. So I wanted to give a little bit of orientation as to why we didn't have the building down by East Lake Road, because the property doesn't allow that. We're working within the configuration of the property that we have.
Move on in the drawings here, and many of these drawings are able to better show some of what Ashley explained here. This is our pre-existing conditions and photograph plan here, showing some of the mature trees that we have. You can see in this drawing many of the trees that we're gonna keep as many as possible. This is our landscaping plan. Shows a section of what we propose the landscape berms to look like, the tree types, and then many of the zoning ordinance requirements, as well as how we intend to meet those requirements. So our site rendering, elevations, first floor plan. You'll see here we have kind of mixed use on the first floor plan. Much of this area will be used as warehouse. Top left corner there, that piece that branches out, will be used for office. On the second floor will only be office for second floor. The warehouse area will be one usable floor, but 2 stories tall. Site lighting plan, this is intended to show the locations of the lights that we've picked here. We've picked lights to help reduce any night sky pollution, and also we've positioned the lights in a way where it would not spill over any residential properties. Last one here, photometric plans. This provides the foot candle levels at each location on a result of the positions of the lights that we have here. The only other thing I wanted to mention, I have been in, Matt Puzz, the zoning officer, and I have been in contact throughout. We believe we meet all the zoning requirements, with the exception of the small corner, kind of bottom left corner of the site there. The thick black dashed line is the existing bluff. So there's a 25-foot bluff setback that we've met, with the exception of about 20 or 30 feet of fence in that bottom corner. So we intend to meet those zoning requirements, and we will revise this plan prior to the next meeting.
Yeah, the point there, the fence is what's not allowed in that 25 feet. We're just on the fringe of that with the last few feet. What we're going to do is, there's really no purpose to the northern fence, as long as we have the western fence down over the bluff far enough that we don't get pedestrians or unwanted visitors there. So that northern fence isn't really needed, and we'll pull that from the plan. The other thing I did want to mention, there is currently an existing chain link fence along the western property line that is in various states of repair. There's holes, so we will be repairing that fence so that we won't have unwanted or incidental folks coming in and out, so there'll be some protection there. The roadway will be, access to the site will be gated. The gate will be placed off of the roadway far enough that we could queue a truck that would come in, and perhaps the gate wouldn't be open yet, so there won't be any staging on the roadway. That was a real concern with how we handle traffic. If a truck arrives and the gate's closed, what do? So we pulled the gate back from the roadway so that they can get off the road and not block traffic in that manner. The operations of the site will be fully within the building. There won't be any fabrication operations or light manufacturing outside the building. As Jake mentioned, the large rectangular portion of the building is primarily modular engineering's fabrication area. There's some fabrication in the northwest corner of that Corporate Glass will work with their product. And then the office area is the smaller area to the northwest, which is a 2-story office area that will house all 3 entities, administrative and design staff. So, happy to answer any questions or clarify any points that we made.
Is there anybody else that wants to present or is
I
presenting?
just had a couple questions. Now, what road are you going to be doing, the north-south or the east-west road? Are you going to be using the road off of East Lake Road at all?
For the entrance roadway?
Yeah.
The entrance roadway is the dark gray roadway
It'll be
that it'll access East Lake Road on the southern end and end at the building. That's the only roadway we're constructing as part of the project. Now, previously, there was an entrance into the Hair Mill International Paper Company site at 3rd Street.
Right.
We're not using that entrance at all. There's actually a gate there that we'll be removing and replacing with permanent fence so that isn't even a potential access. The road will be curbed, so there's no side entrances, but it's north-south from East Lake Road to the building.
Okay, so you'll be going past the school? Or is that off?
So the school on Hair Mill Drive?
Yes.
Yeah, so Hair Mill Drive is to the east here. It's actually off of this drawing. It's eastward.
Okay. So the charter school, it won't be affected at all?
No, it's separated
It's
by
gonna be off.
substantial
Okay.
distance from that Hair Mill Drive. So the entranceway, this driveway enters the corner of Hess and East Ave. There's the former Hair Mill Credit Union, which is now Erie Community College. There's a green lawn space.
Right, where the sign was for
Yes, right where that
a long
sign
time.
is the entrance
Okay.
driveway.
So you're going to be going back that
So
way?
then substantially
Okay.
beyond that, going in the east direction, is Hair Mill Drive where the school is.
Okay.
Which is right across from the Boys and Girls Club there that we had our meetings.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. If we have other presenters, we'll bring them up, just in case some of this might get answered too before we go through, and then we can open up to council for more
Thank
questions. Yeah, thank you. Is there anyone else that's going to testify or present?
I'm a citizen, but I'm not sure if I'm testifying or just, I sent the clerk some questions I had.
Just want to were you sworn in?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Jeff Johnson. I live at 509 Hess Avenue. And so I'm butted right up. I'm right behind Youth Center, or the Youth Institute. And so some of my questions I sent to the clerk. The main one was, I am concerned about the traffic on East Lake Road there and that turning in there. And so they say 2 a day of semis, but business are made to be grown, right? So 2 a day now might be 4 a day. Might be more than that as the business grows, right? So my concern is, he mentioned about they're closed, but a semi's here. So semi pulls in, parks, semis don't shut off. So they idle. That's right behind my house. So I'm concerned about that. I don't know if any traffic studies are involved or anything like that there's not really a turning lane that can be done there. Where they got a Hero down there, they have a similar roadway, but they have a turning lane and all that. Right there at East Lake Road and Birch Court is the other road there. There's not much room. So I'm just concerned because, when GE lets out, that's a raceway. And then when GE goes to work at the raceway and people come traveling back and forth, that's actually no such thing as a 25-mile speed limit there, which I've complained to the police department many, many times, but you know how that goes. And then the second issue I was having was my dog got skunked like 3 weeks ago. So for 35 years, all that land is like a wildlife refuge, okay? So they're going to just bulldoze a road through this wildlife refuge that's been there for years. So where's all this wildlife going to go? Backyards. So I'm going to have more skunks, more raccoons. There's deer back there. There's coyotes back there a couple years ago, but I think they moved on. There's owls back there. There's all kinds of animals that live back there and been living there for years and years and years, and I'm not sure how that's going to work. Are animals going to move one way, or are they going to move into everybody's backyards on Hess Avenue and move from there? I'm not sure if there's a study or a
who's be in charge of wildlife like that, but they're going to get disrupted, and I just don't want them disrupted into my backyard, as I already have problems with the animals from there. So those are my two concerns that I had. The Porter Company's been very open and transparent. I ask them for something, they usually give it to me, so that I can study it and stuff like that. I think it's a good project. It's just I'm concerned about my living and stuff like that, my privacy and all that. So just wanted to make that on the record so people can look into how that's going to affect everybody else on Hess Avenue. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to provide public comment?
I was not sworn in.
We can get you sworn in up here.
Yeah, please raise your right hand.
Why am I raising my right hand?
To be sworn in.
But I'm not swearing on the test.
It-
I'm not swearing.
Just a test, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's different. Oh. Go ahead.
Freda, will you tell the truth?
Yep.
You're not going to lie?
Nope.
Okay.
So I am also concerned about the, quote, least amount of removal of vegetation as possible. It's a little bit vague. And I did see that they're going to plant non-native forsythia and juniper. Why? There's plenty of good native shrubs and trees that can be planted. And in fact, they show they're going to plant large trees, which on the whole, it's better to go with something smaller. They survive better and they catch up much faster than planting large trees. But I would like to see some effort to minimize the amount of clearing. As the man in the neighborhood knows, there's ample wildlife. And has that even been assessed? Also, I see two big glass walls. Are they going to use bird-safe glass on those walls? The Market House can, people doing the Market House can help them to have the specs on designing with bird-safe glass. Really trying to discourage people from putting in big glass walls without bird-safe glass. I'm not sure how much pedestrian traffic there is in this area, but should there be a four-way stop there so that people can cross safely? Thank you.
Excuse me, Freda, can you state your name for the record?
Freda Tepfer, T-E-P-F-E-R. It's nice to see you without that thing that the other guy used.
Anyone else here for public comment? And not public comment, sorry. Let me rephrase that. Testimony. Yeah. Were you sworn in?
I was sworn in already, yeah. Bob Strasser, Erie's Lower East Side, and I've been involved with the Night Ships project from the beginning with Ashley and all the others. They had the information meetings, which I've attended them, and they've answered my questions, and anybody that attended that, they've been upfront about everything. I think they really, really do want to be a good neighbor for the East Side, and this is a start for a property that's been sitting vacant for a long time. They're willing to work with the citizens, the city, the planning, all that. I think they're looking to go above and beyond with things. They've talked with some people from I think it was Ken Nixon from the school district about, and some of the technical schools about education and training for students here in Erie so that they would look to employ citizens of Erie and maybe prioritize East Side people, which is really, really needed. I can't stress, a lot of you hear me come every month and speak about Erie's East Side and the Lower East Side. So I really think that this could be a catalyst to get other things, other businesses and projects going, which we know the city needs, more businesses that are going to be paying some tax and revenue so that we don't have budget deficits and things like that. So I strongly urge you all to vote and approve this, and then we can hopefully move on to other things, because I don't think they're going to be a problem at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here to provide testimony?
I just want to ask a couple questions.
We just have to get you up to the mic and get you sworn in.
Maria Chalovich.
Ma'am, do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. I just have a couple questions. I want to
Excuse
know.
me, can you state your name for the record and pull the mic towards you? Thank you.
Maria Chalovich. I just have a couple questions. One, this light manufacturing, what does it entail? And I thought there was a hearing on a data center. Now, is that part of this? I mean, you can talk about landscape and the construction and all that, but I want to know if it has to do with a data center. And secondly, are they getting LRTA for 10 years? I want to know if they're getting exceptions for taxes. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here to provide testimony?
Ed Kissel, I'm the current Erie County Chairman of the Coastal Zone area.
Did we get you sworn in, Mr. Celia?
Sir, please raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes. Just to bring council up to date, I would like to see if the developer would agree to a small easement on the back side of that property, which would give a beautiful view of the lake. I see their offices are on the back side. That is not a far area away from the Erie Land Lighthouse that's located over on Lighthouse Street. And eventually throughout the years, there may be a trail or so that would continue on from the lighthouse and in an easterly direction over towards 4 Mile Creek, Lawrence Park, tying those communities together. So this is something to consider. Also, I don't know if they're going to be discharging, how much water is going to be used out of that facility. Hammermill had a large sanitary sewer line put in a number of years ago for discharges of their wastewater to the wastewater city disposal plant. The smokestack, I don't know if they're going to have any type of emissions coming out of that building. Those are things I'm sure the residents would be concerned with, per the Coke plant is not a far throw away from all that area. So that's what I would ask, if the developer would look at an easement for additional access as time goes by. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else to provide testimony? All right. At this point, then, I will open up to council members who may have questions for anyone who has presented tonight, so that we can go ahead and ask. Does any members of council have questions? Good. Councilor Horton.
Yeah, Dr. Tice, you know I always have questions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to turn it on, Fred. I have to keep it low in case I say something to Ed over here. Jobs. How many jobs are we talking, and are they family sustaining, jobs?
We have one of the owners here with us who can speak to some of these questions directly.
We like to get it straight from the horse's mouth.
Could you just provide your name?
Sure. My name is Fred Teitman, Teitman, and I'm one of the three owners.
Last name again?
Titeman with a T.
Mr. Sir, first of all, let me preface my remarks and my questions by saying thank you, because we are looking for people to invest in Erie. We want to be a welcoming business environment for Erie, and specifically, we welcome investment on the east side. A lot of times we come in here, we do these things, and people say, I'm going to have 30 jobs, I'm going to have 40 jobs. And then we find out they're $10, $11 hour jobs.
Yeah.
My question is, how many jobs do you anticipate having? Because I know you have a current from the 3 companies.
Yeah.
You'll be shifting those. How many new jobs, I should say?
So we currently employ over 100 people in Erie today in the 3 companies. We're looking at doubling that over the next 3 to 5 years, so another 100 jobs.
I'll be looking for a job in 3 to 5 years. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, what are the wages like?
So they vary. So we have one part of our company is a union carpentry company. So their wages are pre-negotiated, scale up based on experience. But then we also have fabrication jobs, welders. We also have finishers and painters. And then we also have glazers. But these are well-paying jobs.
It sounds like they're trades,
They are the
trades jobs. And so I know the Carpenter Union business agent is no longer local.
Right.
And so how do you go about getting, how would you go about getting local hire? Or is that something that you would consider?
There is a trade school in Pittsburgh that does a lot of the training for the carpenters. We have not had a shortage for ourselves on finding carpenters. We're the largest employer of carpenters in Erie. So our business, we do a lot of work for all the generals. So we're out there every day finding new talent. We develop the talent, and we promote the talent. So probably 3 to 6 of our top leaders have started as a tradesperson, and then they get promoted up.
So you know Eric Dixon?
Yes.
Yes. Eric's a great guy.
He is.
And that's a great partnership that they have, the union apprenticeship program.
Absolutely.
And lastly, I would say that within that footprint is former Wayne School, the ECAP building, and I believe they have a construction training thing. And although it's not union, yet, would there be opportunities for some type of training outside of the union, or do you have a PLA with the unions that would prohibit that?
So we do divide
Like
the
on the
business.
job training?
Yeah, so job training, the carpenters go to Pittsburgh to get their own training. The glazers and the welders, we train them on our own, so we pay for that training. We recently partnered up with the NWIRC to also find additional training that we might not be able to provide the expertise, but we'll partner with someone that can. So all those things are working. I'll mention that on the modular side, every time one of our welders passes a weld test, they get a raise. So we've incentivized them to continue to learn and to grow and to get better. So we've built in that training and the incentive already.
So you can hire blazers and what else you can hire them yourself, and train them.
We do. Yep. So we certify and qualify internally for those. We will bring in third parties when necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. And we appreciate the commercial for the Carpenters Union. My son is a union carpenter
Is that
apprentice,
right?
and so they do turn out good products.
Yes,
so thank
sir.
you.
Agree.
So my question would just be, because we are hearing of the water scarcity that is slowly approaching all areas, especially rural areas, and with the concern of the resident, is your company a data center?
No, we are not.
Okay, all right, thanks. That's great to know, because I know there's a lot of concerns going on. And then the water runoff, I know Mr. Kissel had mentioned.
I can speak to that. And to give you some background, I've been a consultant on the Harriman Paper Company site since 1979. At a prior company I worked for, and for the 30 years we've been at this company. So I'm very familiar with the operations that were there prior, the water usage and where that went. The use of water at this facility is just house usage, restrooms. There is no processed water, there's no wash water for parks. It is solely for the break room use and restroom use here. And the discharge of that will be to the public sanitary sewer. The stormwater, the stormwater runoff is being designed in strict accordance with the city's requirements as well as the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection requirements. There's an existing stormwater pipe on this property that discharges to the lake, which we'll utilize. So we aren't adding any additional pipes to the area. And, and we are significantly reducing the impervious area over what you saw in the old hair mill site. That was, this portion of the site was the warehousing area. So when the paper was made, starting on the east side of the site, it progressed to when it became paper and was stored on this side of the site. And therefore, there's one of the questions that a lot has been about the contamination. This is one of the areas of the property that didn't have soil contamination. The covenants with the DEP are very minimal here, just to moving the soil, but no environmental issues. So our stormwater is solely from the roofs, the parking area, and then discharged to the existing storm sources.
Okay, and I have two more things. I wanted to question the wildlife, because I do know that when there is a large development, the surrounding neighbors do have an influx of unwanted pests, whether it's rodents, whether it's skunks, whether it's, what else? Possums, I believe, is a big one that people have mentioned in the past.
Deer, coyote, fox.
So
deer.
what are we trying to do to try to minimize as much of the invasion into the residents? Because we don't know what's there and what has been able to collect that property as their habitat. Because, I mean, we've had coyotes, we have geese, we have turkeys. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there's owls in there, as they've mentioned. So,
well, one thing we did was we did do a search of the Pennsylvania database to make sure there was no endangered or threatened species on the property. So we found that there were none in this area. As far as protection of the property owners, we have a site that's overgrown. We will be repairing the fence area to seal up any of the holes that are there now. So that should help with some of the animals that would migrate through the fence. The other area to the east of the site has grown up as well, so we anticipate that some of that migration will be to the east or inward portion of the site. But it is a developable site as that progresses and that moves on. So our protections are trying to secure the fence so that there's no direct access, and then clear and we are leaving as many mature trees to the downhill side or the west side of the property along that fence line as well. So I don't have an answer for where they're going to go, but our efforts will be to protect the properties as best we can.
and then the last thing is the native plants. We do have some, environmental conscientious residents who do bring up the need for us to plant more native plants before the development starts, to try to mitigate any of the issues of invasion plants coming in. And Ms. Tepford is really great at advising and even being a reference on what plants would be great and thrive in this environment. So I just want you to be really aware that she might be the only one who's vocal, but there are a lot of environmentally conscious people who will be asking about why we're not planting native plants. So just be aware of that, please.
And we are aware of that. We did select plants that we felt were dense at the upper and lower levels because we were looking for screening. However, we're very familiar with native species. We're open to discussing that with the residents. We're more than happy to accommodate that.
Thank you.
Dr. Tides, just one more question, maybe two, in regards to the wildlife. You stated you have no way of knowing where they're going to go, but I kind of reject that premise because we have a lot of experience in developing along the East Lake Road and putting in the Bayfront. We know exactly where they're going to go, and they're going to go into the residence yard. There's not really a lot of places for them to go north, and I think it's a fallacy to think that they're going to take a trail to go east or west when there are houses sitting there. So my question would be, while you're mitigating, while you're fixing the fence and all of that, has there been any thought of putting traps down or contacting someone, catch and release maybe, because the gentleman expressed some, they're real concerns. I live on the Lower East Side, And yeah, they're real concerned, so maybe we can have some talk about it offline and before we bring this back to a vote. Maybe you and that gentleman or Father Jerry, whom I know very, very well, should really address some of that stuff to the degree that you can.
And I didn't mean to say we didn't know whether they're going to go east or west. None of these animals are going to swim in the lake, we're sure of that. And but there is open area to the east where they'll most likely migrate to. But we're happy to speak with professionals on advising us on how to deal with that.
Yeah. They're going to go east, west, or south.
Correct.
Yeah, not just.
And all those are residential areas, I understand.
Yeah.
We'll
pretty tight over there, and so his concerns are very real. And I don't want to sit here and act like we didn't hear what he said, and I want to put it on the record to make sure that you heard what he said as well.
And I've talked with Mr. Johnson several times. This evening was the first time we talked about the concern about the animals, so we would certainly address that.
And the 6th Street corridor is really it's really a tough. It's really tough all year round, but there is some schools and Boys and Girls Club there. It's tough to make a left turn if you're facing north, hoping to come west. It's tough to make a a left turn if you're facing south and you want to go east. The roundabouts and everything that's going on now has diverted all of that traffic there. You have the East Middle School there. You have the JCAC Charter School there. You have the ECAT building there. You have the community college there. And the semi-truck turning there could prove to be a little challenging on that parcel of land. So I want to just speak to that and put that on the record as well.
I understand.
Thank you, Mr. Titum, for coming in today with your family as well to give them the experience of how to go about doing things. And I attended the St. Anne's Neighborhood Watch where there was a presentation, and if you got Father Proscaro's affirmation, that's pretty awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a couple questions from on my end is I just want to note that around the idling semis, I know that we're here for very specific parts of the waterfront conditional use ordinance, and that's not one of them, but I do want to just take note that will affect the residents, so that's more of a policy, in-house policy. Just a little bit more curious around the lighting, because that will affect quite a bit of the residents, just being mindful of how it's turned, where it's turned.
The lighting along the roadway. So all the lighting is night sky friendly lighting, so we don't have upglow. And we're very careful about the photometrics and the placement of light, so there is no light level increase beyond the property line to the Hess side. So we're very cognizant of that. So we don't want the site glowing. Like you see some of the Walmarts along 79, you can see the glow coming. That isn't this site. We're very cognizant of that. And we don't want any overcast lighting into the adjacent property. So that's why we ran the photometrics, and we're very careful about that.
And then to reiterate one of the questions that was asked around tax abatements for the development, I know that is outside of the purview of the ordinance, but just wanted to ask that on behalf of the resident.
Yeah, so as part of the program, the tax benefits that are available to the owner will be taken advantage of. So this is a very costly project. The entrance road to this site, this is unusual in that we have this long of an entrance road. The entrance road itself is $2 million. We have a $15 million project here. So trying to make that as palatable as possible, those programs would be taken advantage of.
Thank you. Any other further questions from any members on council?
Can I take one more statement? I
Sure.
wanted to clarify, as I misstated earlier, about the number of the trucks. Currently, there are 5 trucks a week, which is less than 1 a day. And they do about 100 units a year now, that they would increase to 300 units a year approximately. And we have projected that, which that gets us to that 2 trucks a day average when they are at their peak production. No.
Well, thank you Sir, again, for continuing to keep your business in Erie.
Absolutely.
And we recognize and we thank you for all the years that you've been in Erie. And to move it to the east side, I think is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So
No,
thank you.
we're proud to be in Erie, and we appreciate not only the community support, the city support, the county support. And this is actually a cool meeting. I like to hear all the feedback, so appreciate it from your team as well.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, if there's no other testimony, we can go ahead and move to close out the public hearing section.
Yeah, if there's no more testimony, we can close out the public hearing and move into public comment.
All right. At this point, then, we will move into public comment. And just as a reminder, go ahead, sorry. Yes, thank you.
The court reporter may be excused.
Yes. So just as a reminder for public comment, please clearly state your name and your municipality for the record. You'll have 5 minutes. Please be mindful of that time. And just also be mindful that when we're in this space, the acoustics are pretty horrible. And so if we can be quiet when we're in the chambers, that will allow us to hear and those who are online to also hear comments that are being made. So again, please make sure you're signing in. You'll have 5 minutes. State your name and your municipality clearly for the record.
Hi, my name is Cindy Triber. I am born and raised in Erie, currently live in Edinburgh. If you could indulge me, I have a recording that I would like to play. It is upsetting. There are a few cuss words. I have spoken to the parents in the room who have children to let them know.
He said they messing him up back there real bad. He just told me like they gotta get him out of there before they end up killing him back there. They keep messing with him. I ain't know it was him back there they kept doing that to.
How can I get him out of there?
I don't know, still. He said, I think you gotta get your lawyer to get down here soon, like tomorrow. But they talking about, he said they was sitting there tasing them with the shield for like a half hour to an hour. They kept beating on him, and then they hit him with some tranquilizers and shit. And they said they was beating on him until he basically gave up. Like, okay.
I'd like to introduce you to Jeremiah Russell. He's a 21-year-old currently incarcerated in the Erie County Prison. And while I understand that the county prison is not your jurisdiction, he is a resident of Erie, his family is from Erie, and the county is within Erie limits. Jeremiah was a state-qualified wrestler and excelled at football and basketball. These are things that his mother would like you to know. He was an excellent student. He is a talented musician with viral exposure of some of his music. He is a brother that helps take care of one of his disabled brothers. He is wise, considerate, and a good son and friend. And he now sits in jail being abused and tortured with taser equipment for in upwards of an hour. He is being restrained in what is called a torture chair, whose history dates back to medieval times and is now used to immobilize prisoners for extended periods of time, causing severe pain, restricted breathing, and spine damage that the United Nations have classified as a form of torture. This is in Erie County Prison. This phone call that you just heard is from an inmate who called his mother, a portion of a phone call to tell her what is going on with her son. Up until today, nobody had seen Jeremiah for 2 months. We had no proof of life. He was being beaten, and we had no idea if he was okay or not. Because the last time somebody they went to his cell, saw somebody immobilized, unresponsive, laying under a blanket, and could not even determine if it was him or if he was alive. We have a real problem going on with our criminal justice system, and I think we have all spoken about this. This young man is 21. Like, we all have brothers and sisters and children who His high school record, I mean, this is not someone who you would think we'd be sitting here now talking about being immobilized in a torture chair. They strap you to a chair, put a spit bag over your head, and leave you there to break your spirit, to cause severe pain, and to immobilize you. This kid is not in here for murder. He's not in there for any violent offense, except getting into a fight with someone and an altercation with a law enforcement agent during the breakup of that fight. That's it. That's it. His family needs to be proof of life. They need a video of him. They need to be able to see him. The last time his mother drove up here from North Carolina, she came to the prison to see him, and the guard told her, before she even gave him her ID, he doesn't want to see you. She said, you don't even know who I am. Well, he doesn't want to see you. She said, go check. She came back. He said, yeah, he doesn't want to see you. And at that point, asked for his ID. When she called the county executive and made her aware, Ms. Vogel was not very helpful. When she called the warden literally told her that the gentleman who reported this didn't really see anything, and he has now been pulled into the warden's office to be reprimanded. The warden also, on the phone call, this is obviously her statement, the last thing he said to her was, well, then put me in jail if you don't like it. What are we talking about? What are we doing? Like, this is a human being. When 1/3 of the population has a criminal record, can we really afford to be having these kind of conversations? We need help with this. We need people to speak out. We need your guidance and your voice.
Thank you.
Hello. Can you hear me? Yeah, my name is Charlene Freeman. I'm Jeremiah Russell's grandmother. They had Jeremiah in jail for a whole year before he got out. They had him a whole year in the hole for a year, doing the same thing to him for trespassing in a backyard. He's been going through mental problems for a while after he got out of school. I've been trying to get help for him at St. Vincent's. They let him wander off, and it started to get worse, the mental problems. So they threw him in jail. We didn't see him for a while there either. His father was visiting him. He got out, one day he just got out and came to my house, and he didn't even look the same. He looked like a wild person. He was like making weird noises. I'm like, what's wrong with you, you know? And he flipped out in my house and ran away. And next thing I know, he's back in jail again. So we was trying to go see him, and they said he didn't want to see none of us. So another guy called me saying that my grandson was being abused very bad in Erie County Prison. The lawyer, I tried to talk to the lawyer. She said she didn't want to go in there. I said, why not? You the lawyer. She just hung up on me, and I didn't know what else to do. But someone need to do something. They seem like they don't care. That's all.
Thank you.
My name is Michelle Dovershaw, City of Erie. I'm going to touch on a couple quick things real quick. I know last meeting y'all talked about possibly limiting where people live that can speak in Erie Council. I think if that's the case, then we need to take it back to where the Erie police have to live inside Erie. Because if they can live somewhere else and come work here and do the things that they've been doing inside of the city limits, then we should be able to talk. Because if I moved to Wesleyville I still work in Erie, but for now it could be, oh, well, you work here, you can speak, but next year, it'll be no. Erie is Wesleyville. Erie is Lawrence Park. Erie is Mill Creek. I don't know anybody that says, hi, I'm from Mill Creek. They say, hi, I'm from Erie. With that being said, another thing I wanted to bring up is the PCCP, whatever. I guess that's down the drain. And now we have the Mayor's Council on Community Trust. I want to know who's picking. Because I got calls last night from certain people that were asked by certain people to be on this community trust board thing, but it's always the same people. You're not going to get different results. That's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And if you got the same 5 people on that committee, she gonna get left out, he gonna get left out, he gonna get left out. I am tired of the opaqueness. What happened to transparency? Everything is being done in secret. And then when people call me about stuff, I get a hold of people up here to ask a question. And I don't know what you're talking about, Michelle. So then that means it's being done privately. And that's a problem for me. So on to the more serious matter. Makemura Jackson Jr. On 8/8, he was walking down the street. His only crime was walking while black. I am sick of people that look like my sons, my nephews, being accosted by police because of the color of their skin. Now, I have worked alongside some of y'all up there for a very long time. But some of y'all will never know the fear of when your son calls you crying, saying, Mom, I got pulled over. Please come here. Terrified. I'm done. And I'm demanding answers. And I'm demanding justice for Makemura, for everybody who's getting pulled over, who's getting drug out their car, for who's getting beaten and tased, and for police to run up on the sidewalk to run somebody down. He's on a bike. No, I'm done. And for anybody who knows anything, I'm letting everybody know now that there is a new thing in town, and it's called the Justice Recovery Project. It's for justice that heals, not hurts. We're not going nowhere, and we're demanding answers. Not next year, not next decade. We're done. And we're putting everybody on notice. We're not going anywhere. And we want justice for people who look different than a lot of the people that sit on this board. Thank you.
I got some more paperwork, but my name's Mike Rensel. You guys know me. I'm from East Springfield, born in Erie. I just want to talk to you today about my tenants, and I wanted to share with you guys, I know you know about the young man that damaged my one rental property, but when that was going on, they've been targeting me, and they went down to my other rental property where my other tenants live, right on the very block. An elderly woman lives there. I got a letter from her she wrote. The guy on drugs came in and kicked in her door. He's a white guy, 35, about 5'9". The woman was in her 70s with her biracial granddaughter that's like 15, just the two of them versus him. These are the same group of men that had targeted me with the Confederate flag. I just want to let you know. Caused over, I think it was $2,000 damage to my house in like 3 minutes. I had to pay Window World $2,419.12. And that law enforcement just ignored me. And I wanted to say, I tried to get into the police station twice, and they would not let me in. I was one time, I just want to let you know about that. They won't talk to me. I went to the front here. I was able to get a Deputy Chief Janice on the phone with me. And I told him about this man that was ripping apart my house, trying to get money from me. He told me it's a civil matter. He said when a guy comes to my rental property with a machete, holds a knife to my tenant's throat and face, and evicts them at knife point. I told him about this. I told him the guy confessed to having murdered people. I seen blood on his sneakers. I'm saying he robbed a person right next to my rental property, an elderly man. And I seen that with my own eyes for $18. Also, another guy got robbed there off a bicycle. And I don't know that, but I only found that out from the girl that works at the shop. The same guy robbed two people that I know of, or one eyewitness. I wanted to say I have two tenants. Their leases are ending in around March. They've been with me a long time. One's over 15 years, and another one's been about 10. They're both African American. Their children growing up in my house. I told them I can't afford to be a landlord because this is getting crazy. I lost like 30 grand this year. I currently rent this really nice apartment to her for $665. I told her I'm going to have to raise her rent a lot. I said, I don't think you can afford to live here no more. She looked at other apartments. The comparable mine, she's telling me between $1,100 and $1,200 for the same apartment, basically in a similar neighborhood. I don't want to raise her rent like that. I just can't afford it. The police just turned their back on me. I want to tell you something what this guy did, Mike, to me. When he beat me up, I talked to Nolan, and I told him everything that was going on. I told Nolan these guys are selling fentanyl, and they're going to kill somebody. A few years later then, a guy dies of fentanyl at my property. Mike knows I know he's the guy that sold it. I'm just saying, he does not like me. I got the PFA system involved with Chad for putting a knife to his aunt's throat. He also pulled a knife on his grandmother. They had criminal charges on him. He never showed up to the hearing, so he never got convicted of anything. He's in jail now. They're still going to get me. Mike told me he's going to stomp my face in. He's the one that beat me before. I'm weaker now. I got a fake knee. I cannot survive another fight with him. Physically, I think he could kill me. He's stronger, and I'm getting older and weaker every day. And he's been off of drugs. I think he's been in jail. He looks healthier than ever. And I just had a conversation with him. They want money from me. They have drugs. He's mad at me because I made sure Chad got put away. The Erie police turned their back on me. I also want to let you guys know, I ran into a woman on the Lower East Side. She came with me. She had an eviction. She says, Mike, I'm going to school. I need an apartment. I said, well, you have an eviction. She says, it's for non-payment. I check her out. I said, it's fine. This is many years ago. I just wanted to let the history with the police. I go over there one day. I'm going to go to mow the grass because that's my job. I hear her yelling and screaming. I look up through she lives in the second floor, and I look up through the window and I see the door kicked in. She's yelling for help. So I called the police that there's a domestic disturbance and the door's been kicked in. They told me it was a landlord-tenant conflict. And I says, I'm not having a conflict with her. I says, I believe she's in a domestic situation with her boyfriend. Needless to say, she was held in my apartment, beaten. Her arm was broke, her face was all busted up. He did more than just physically assault her.
Thank
She
you.
was held in my apartment for multiple days. The police have repeatedly just turned their back on me. I just want to ask one more thing.
Well,
Could I have a meeting with the chief of police and you, please? And I got some people I'd like to come with. I want to not
Sir, we'll
evict
have
my
to set
tenants.
this up afterwards. I apologize, but
Okay,
the five
okay.
is up. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have someone I want you to meet.
My name is Freda Tepfer, and I live in Erie. Last year, I was part of a group of people calling people whose ballots were undeliverable. I don't know how many there were in Erie County, but people who have undeliverable ballots is because the address was wrong, because they moved, because maybe they're college students and they changed dorms. Mail-in ballots are not forwarded, period. They're not forwarded, they come back undeliverable. If the address is wrong, the apartment number is wrong, the dorm building is wrong, the snowbird has gone away, it comes back undeliverable. So I'm asking people to go and check that their registration is current. The last day to register before the election is October 19th. Officially, the last day to apply for a mail-in ballot is the 27th of October, but they're advising people to apply by the 19th. So if you know there's a place on the form for requesting a mail-in ballot to put the address where the ballot is to go. You need to make sure that's a current address where you know that you will be in October, or yes, it's October when you'll get the ballot, that you'll be there to receive the ballot. That's very important because otherwise you lose your right to vote. I'm concerned that the zoning hearing board voted, I believe unanimously, to deny a variance to the people who wanted to put a bar on Hampton and West 21st Street. They published a public notice saying that the zoning hearings board failed to provide a letter, official letter, informing them of the denial, and therefore that the denial was not valid, and they believe they have a permit of variance. Myself and another person concerned about this, we have yet to have a response. I've talked to the Matt Puz several times, but it's unacceptable that this should happen. There are people paid to be responsible to do that, and this should not happen, and they should not be allowed to deny the denial of the variance. I'd like to acknowledge the effort of the people working on the Renaissance Building and the Erie Downtown Development Corporation previously, the Warner Theater, and the, oh gosh, can't think of the name of it, who provide alternative sidewalks. And with the help of Kathy, the Renaissance Building provided a ramp when there wasn't a ramp previously. This should be the norm. It shouldn't be special because somebody out of the goodness of their heart did it. If sidewalk closures would have these sidewalk bypasses, we wouldn't have to have signage closing off entire blocks when there's just a short area in the middle like the cathedral did. I heard during the caucus, you're talking about not raising fees, but raising taxes. The reason why you should raise fees is because the not-for-profits, who are really not non-for-profits, have to pay those fees. And I want you to think hard about not doing that. Right now, there's a lot going on in the world. The Department of Justice is saying they do not have to enforce the rights of people with disabilities to live in community, to receive home and community-based services. And they are not going to uphold the Supreme Court decision. They're not going to enforce on it. We need to have our voices heard. You need to call your senators, your congressmen, and tell them that you are concerned, you want to support home and community-based services. There are bills in Congress right now. I am concerned that there's a series of housing events going on around the county, and the one for Erie is September 1st. And there's a really wonderful soul, rhythm, and blues musical event planned just about the exact same time. And really, there's a lot of the same people who should be at both of those events. I know the housing event was advertised a long time ago, and the rhythm and blues one only recently. Is there any way to fix this? I'm concerned because at the meeting of the Planning Commission yesterday, the chair of the Planning Commission did abstain from voting because he works for the firm that did the design work, but he didn't recuse himself from the discussion. And he had a lot to say during the discussion. If he is a member of the design firm, he should not be participating in the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Maria Chilovich. I'm here for a couple different reasons. I received an article from out west, Nevada, and one from California, people that sent them to me about Erie, Pennsylvania, and it has to do with the housing market and the rental market here. First of all, Erie ranks second in the country for the highest costs for homes and rentals based on per capita, based on income. Now, why is that? Secondly, there are apartment rentals that people are going to. They're looking at the same apartment, and these apartments are still not rented, and they're collecting $40 and $50 fees. I think this has become a scam, and they're not renting these places. And I hope these realtors or these people are sending out notices as to why they are rejected, because that's something the Attorney General should look into. Then you have the sports arena up in Mill Creek getting busted with prostitution, teacher, lawyers, and I guess now they're working the Bayfront. Is that what Erie's going to come to? A Trump Epstein facility on the Bayfront? You people need to wake up. You need to be paying attention. Now, I don't know if the cops are on some of these payrolls or not, but from what I've heard, that one hotel on the south side of the Bayfront isn't what you think it is. And I think Nick Scott owns that one too. And he's nothing but a front man, in my opinion. You guys need to, either you know you're working with the mob or you don't. But you better start looking into what's going around in this town. And as far as the Bayfront, again, Nick Scott, you scam people of the city of Erie. You do nothing for the people in the city of Erie. You do nothing for the kids in the city of Erie. But you want that tax dollar, and you'll give alert out to everybody and the brother that wants to build a shop and stay for 10 years and then hightail it out of here. You need to have some recommendations, and you need to get with it, because you're not. You are not at all. People on the street know more than what you people know. And that's for damn sure. And I happened to be at the Bayfront when one of these people approached me for a cigarette, who got thrown off a boat. You think I'm kidding about this? I'm not. And as far as the housing market, look at what you just screwed the veterans. Out of 5, 6 homes, you gave them to nonprofits to make storage facilities. What is wrong with you people? You need to get it together. You need to either get with it or get out, one or the other, because this is just going nowhere fast. And you keep wanting to block the Bayfront from the cities of Erie, from the citizens and the kids, that you can't even go down there and go fish anymore, where older people love to go sit at the dock and fish. They can't do that anymore because of what you've done. And you took that infrastructure money for the VA houses, and what'd you do? Give it all to the Bayfront to screw up the whole roadway? Because that's what it looks like. I'm telling you, you people either need to get a grip, get out, but you better start, because I'm going to start contacting Harrisburg, and I'm going to have the Attorney General here to investigate what's going on at the Bayfront. Because no little kid that was down there for an event or whatever should have to be subjected to anything. And now with ships coming in here for these tours, what are we going to have kids start missing? Because they'll be taken off some boat and dumped in the lake when they don't comply? I'm telling you. Get a grip.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dr. Clayton Bradshaw Middle. I live in Erie. My pronouns are they, them. I just wanted to come here today. I wanted to raise some concerns about the fourth ordinance that's on for passage today. Sorry, there's no water fountain. We should, yeah. Sorry. Oh, yeah, if you don't mind. Sorry, didn't mean to.
Sir, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Dr. Clayton Bradshaw Middle. Yeah, okay. Sorry, thank you very much. So I wanted to raise some concerns about the ShotSpotter subscription that's on the agenda for passage today. Regardless of how the subscription is paid for, which one actually, from what I heard during the caucus, sounds shaky and not actually collected yet. There are some legitimate issues with the technology, and I want to urge the council against renewing this subscription. So a quick overview of ShotSpotter in case anyone's not familiar with it. It's a system of audio devices that are placed around Erie that pick up gunshots and report them to police. The result is a slightly quicker response to gunfire. While in theory this might be good in terms of providing medical care, but that's not, again, why people put it in. It actually leads to a lot of other issues when it comes to policing. Studies from the City of Chicago's Inspector General, from the Innocence Project, from a variety of other places, have shown there's no impact on the root causes of gun violence, nor on occurrence of gun violence. It has been referred to by some critics as essentially fancy policing theater, also really expensive policing theater. And it does not contribute in any meaningful way to preventing gun violence. For this reason alone, cities like Chicago, Atlanta, Portland, who have far bigger budgets than Erie and also larger issues with gun violence, have decided to cancel their subscriptions and no longer use them. In addition, using ShotSpotter has led to evidence has led to multiple wrongful arrests. Because it can't do any more than identify that a gunshot has taken place, cannot create evidence that proves beyond a doubt who actually fired a shot. Essentially, it wastes police time in investigations of gun violence instead of looking for things that could actually, prevent this. In fact, ShotSpotter has actually led to police shooting suspects who have been later exonerated. So there is the potential here beyond just the theater to actually cause harm in communities around Erie rather than protect them. In addition, I'm kind of curious where the microphones are located. There's a tendency by ShotSpotter and by police departments to disproportionately place them in communities of color, which creates false representations of gun violence statistics, and it leads to additional over-policing, which we have heard the results of today. We began with examples of what over-policing has led to. And there's plenty of literature out there on that subject. Then there's a whole problem of the fact that it uses AI algorithms to detect and determine the difference between helicopter blades, gunshots, other similar noises. And these algorithms have proven inaccurate at times. And again, police are sent to investigate something that might not actually be gunfire rather than spending their time on something that could be helpful. ShotSpotter CEO claims that these algorithms are simple math that could be done by hand, but then, one, why aren't they? And two, as we've seen with AI in other spaces, these algorithms lack human nuance and often harm marginalized people disproportionately. I can go on, I can provide a lot of facts and statistics and stories about people who have been harmed by ShotSpotter. In fact, John Oliver did a really good job of this a few weeks ago when he talked, because this is right up there with flock cameras in terms of concerns around AI usage for policing. But I also don't want to waste too much of your time. So I just want you to either vote down paying for this subscription, or at the very minimum, if it's possible, I'm not entirely sure of the rules, delay it until you can actually get maybe a better study done or something that shows if this is going to be helpful, or is this something that could potentially harm people in Erie, which is the bigger concern. Because even if it's going to get paid by somebody else, if it's harming the community, then it's something that we shouldn't be putting in on our streets. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Michael Piscolny, Harbor Creek.
I just wanted to echo what the previous speaker said. I've been following ShotSpotter for years in larger cities. What they said is completely correct. It shouldn't even be a hard decision. Like, it should not be renewed at all. It's inaccurate. It creates violent confrontations with police. Definitely a bad idea to renew that. There are a couple things I wanted to speak about today. Number one, I'm going to continue to bring up the trip to the War Summit by the mayor, county executive in Infinite Erie. I've stated on public record that the function of the summit was the corruption and pro-genocide tendencies of the officials, welcomed and headlining the event, the cartel-like nature of the military-industrial complex, and no talk of "we need jobs" will silence criticism working with those who funnel billions of dollars to corrupt war contractors who kill people overseas and surveil and kidnap people in our communities. I also laid out the connection between Israel and its testing of technology on weapons and weapons on Palestinians that are outsourced to our police, military, DHS, and ICE. Many collaborators were at this summit. Can the mayor even say the words "Free Palestine" without having her connections cut off? Is it a scary thing to say? If we were alive during the Holocaust, would you speak out against it? Would you be at events with people carrying it out with U.S. tax dollars? This issue is directly connected to the militarized blowback within our community. I'm serious. This deserves a direct response. What's different about this Holocaust that's being carried out? You're telling me that you had to go to a pro-war summit which did nothing but boost pro-war, pro-surveillance, pro-genocidal propaganda because Erie needs jobs. There are no other avenues for jobs in Erie. What is the job to people killed by weapons of war ratio we're aiming for in Erie, Pennsylvania? What caused Erie to need jobs? Why is Erie poor in the first place? Does prioritizing private capital interests for decades have anything to do with it? I was at a Jefferson event about the old Coke plant location and had to counter a man in a suit who was excitedly advocating for advanced military drone technology to be tested at this location. If no one was there, who would counter that, right? Officials here always talk about, well, we already have so many defense, aka endless war contracts. It's normal. Yeah, that should not be normal. Do you think that should be normal? Advocate for your love for war contracts then. Be open about it. Tell us how these contracts have benefited the poorest areas of Erie, Pennsylvania. I was here a few months ago where I predicted this was exactly what the mayor and Infinite Erie were going to do with the Naval Shipyard. Have you spent 1 second of your administration calling out the most wealthy or connected in this city and pressuring them to unionize their workplaces? We have hundreds of millions of dollars going to projects to do absolutely nothing to help the poorest areas of Erie. I spoke about the police presence and tower cameras at the Elm Street Walmart in a previous meeting. Any updates on this? Was anything done to fix this? What are the responsibilities of the city government to protect the people living in the community from AI surveillance and targeting by the police and private corporations? LVT produces the cameras used at this Walmart location. These towers have sightlines way over the parking lot into the surrounding community. Go there and watch what groups of people make up the main customers going into this location, the neighborhood it's in, and why someone with bad intentions might want to surveil them. This is a description of LVT's website, how they describe it. LVT's agentic AI brings new possibilities to security solutions by giving you the ability to detect behavior, personalized deterrence, and speed up investigations. These capabilities are reshaping what is possible, helping businesses move from reactive to proactive security. LVT markets itself as a militaristic pro-corporate surveillance tool that can use AI to predict crime and amass data on people to prevent it. Does that seem normal to you? Does the city council or mayor know how many systems like LVTs, Flux, or any other AI-based ALPR technologies exist in the city? Are you aware of how and why this data is gathered on community members and what crime they have prevented? When it comes to the guy who came here from Philadelphia, moving on from private financial management, and was given an immediate press conference, full support of the city council, has any research been forwarded to the community regarding his and his company's background? Why should the community trust him and his organization? From my perspective, PFM is named after a main strategy that the International Monetary Fund uses to strangle countries in the global south with loans in order to exploit labor and resources for our multinational corporations. This perhaps can be shrunk down to what PFM aims to do with the city of Erie. Perhaps the city council and mayor can provide factual data that PFM represents the good of the people, not private capital investors, and the maintenance of segregated and poor community in Erie. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak during public comment?
Yes, Bob Strasser, Erie's Lower East Side. I guess I first want to try to address some of the issues that we've heard tonight. First I'll go into one I do a lot of research in and have worked with is the artificial intelligence and technologies. And yes, there are going to be some negative things as part of the learning curve and as we go through the singularity, which we probably already are. So you're not going to stop artificial intelligence. It's the cat's out of the bag, the genie's out of the bottle. We're just going to have to learn to live with it and adapt with it and hope that it works with us for the good of mankind. Yeah, there may be some evil applications that have to be countered, whatever. My view on it is, if the race is between the United States and China, I think I still want the United States to be the one that comes out the winner and uses it for hopefully the betterment of mankind. If that doesn't happen, well, then we'll all go through it together. But we're not going to stop it. You can say what you want about the data centers and all that. There's some good and bad. And if people are afraid of it and say they don't want it on their lands and stuff, well, guess what? Someone like Elon Musk is going to say, all right, we don't need your land, I'll put them all up in space, and then that's what they're going to do. So it's going to go through, so just try to learn it and understand it the best you can. And I'll probably talk more about this stuff in the future, but I guess I'm getting tired of a lot of the negative things that are coming down about that, and also the negative stuff that's going on regarding law enforcement, particularly our Erie Police Department. We are putting them in a very, very dangerous situation with everybody ganging up on them. Yes, there are going to be mistakes made at times. It happens in every police department throughout the country and throughout the world for that matter. But I know because I used to be a police officer and for the city of Erie as one of the police departments I've worked on. I know the training that they go through and the advancements that have taken place since then. I don't believe that there are any officers in the city of Erie that go to work every day and think, hey, I'm going to take my anger and stuff out on a black person or an Hispanic, okay? There's things that happen, and until you've been a police officer and experienced the different things, one of my advice for the committee that you're putting together to study things is, we need to educate people and even the police department to do a better job in getting the citizens to realize that when a police officer gives you a lawful command, you should follow that command. Because if you don't, then things get out of control, okay? You might make a sudden move that they interpret, maybe you have your phone in your hand and they interpret that as a gun. They want to go home to their families and stuff at nighttime. And I really think, you could look at the George Floyd incident and a lot of others throughout time here, that 95% of these things would be avoided if people just listened to the lawful commands that they were given by the police officer. And if there was a mistake made, it can be figured out at the district justice level or with their attorney or when the trial takes place. So I myself, and I worked in social services, social work also for 30 some years. So I know the other side of that. And when you try to replace police officers and their work with social work, it's just not going to work. You're putting that social worker in extreme danger. When you combine the two, you have a social worker with a police officer and those things. It probably is a better situation where you have a police unit like the crisis unit that's trained in the social work things and knows how to bring the other additional resources in. But myself, I'm pretty fed up about all the ganging up and stuff that's going on the Erie Police Department. And I'm going to speak up for them. I'm not going to say that they're perfect. There are situations, and each situation has to be looked at individually and gets determined, by the district justice or the district attorney.
Thank you.
So I may have more in the future. Thank you. Have a good night.
Is there anyone else here for public comment?
Hello, my name's Yana Chatfield. I apologize for walking out. Okay. I would like to know who's in charge of hiring the police officers we have and the people that work at the county, because the amount of violence I've seen in this city after not just me, but multiple people coming up and talking about, we need to change this, we need to change this. It's not being changed. And on another topic of the police and everything, I want to talk about the PALS program. They are very selective on who they bring into the PALS program. The PALS program is supposed to be to uplift the youth. I understand it's hard to do something where you only have this many spots open for it, but why do I see the same select few kids in the program? Why do I never see a new kid? Why is it always the same kids? It's unfair to the kids who want to be in the program, because then they're on a waiting list. And that waiting list is probably way too long. Like, by the time you turn 18, you're not going to be able to do the program. So my question is, we need to change that. Another question is, who's hiring these police officers? And I think we should get together and have people who are here who have questions like this and get a ride through with the officers. And I'm not talking, I want the officers who don't have the cleanest record, because I feel like if we were to put people in charge of doing ride-alongs with the public and everything, you guys would put people with the cleanest officers, cleanest record. Like, there's a problem in Erie, PA, and we need to fix it. Because the youth, another thing, the youth, I was told that there were going to be countless youth programs by the end of this summer. There were going to be more youth spaces for us this summer. I don't see anything. What, the Boys and Girls Club? That's it? That's mainly for 12 and under. High schoolers don't want to sit around and be here and sit around and just play basketball all day in a gym or be locked up in a gym all day. We want to have things to do. What, we have Presque Isle skating? But what, that's like only on the weekends. Then you have Watermere. But who wants to go to Watermere every day and get on the same ride every single day? Not me. Not anybody that I know. So we just need to start investing in the youth and investing on who is hiring the police officers. Because then again, why is this black man getting beat in jail? Why are black people scared to go out into their community and to have fun? I can't tell you the amount of people I've seen posting on their stories talking about, I don't want to go to Erie Days because I don't know how the police are moving. There were countless people riding bikes throughout Erie Days, and I just seen the police over there cackling with each other. I asked, I said, hey, what's the bike regulation? Because there's not supposed to be any bikes here. Oh, they just can't be on it. But there's guys riding electrical bikes throughout it. We really need to see who we're hiring, and we need to make sure they're not lazy. I apologize for what I'm choosing to say, but it's the truth. We need to get on top of this. This is sad. Very sad. This is not the community that I was told about. Anytime anybody asks me where I'm from, I go, from Erie. Because what am I supposed to say? Oh yeah, we have Watermere, and then we also have police who beat on people. Yeah, we have a police who killed a man. What am I supposed to say? What have the police done for me? Like that man was saying earlier, he has someone who's breaking into his house, and the police are just ignoring him. We need to get these things fixed. We need to get people who actually care about the people in this city in the police station. We need to stop being so selective. I don't see many people my color in them uniforms. I'll be completely honest. I don't see many people in the fire department with my color of skin in those uniforms. So why is that? And then we need to start cleaning up the streets. I'm talking about cleaning up the trash. There's no way that we should have needles on the street laying where kids walk every day. It's a shame. It's disgusting. What are we teaching the kids? Oh yeah, this is a needle. You just got to walk past it and ignore it. It's not going to go away. We need to find things to fix these problems. I feel like we voted some people in this office and they have done absolutely nothing for us. And it's enraging. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jay Rodriguez in the city of Erie. I also want to say I'm a United States Navy veteran. I have many family members that are police officers and serve in some capacity with serving the community. As far as data centers, I have friends also that work in data centers, some design data centers. They're also in that world. So I just want to say that I'm extremely proud of everyone that comes up here and speaks with all the information they have. They're not just against it. They're just giving all the information that they have, presenting it, and just bringing awareness to what needs to be considered, and the dangers of it, if you will, and the dangers to the community, the fact that they won't benefit us in any way, shape, or form. And I have friends that are in the industry as well that would admit that as well. I'm new to Erie. I came from Illinois. I saw the data centers, and I saw the damage that they did there. I moved here because of the community, the smallness, if you will, of it, the shops that it has. To bring data centers here, I think would be it wouldn't do any service to it. As far as AI, AI has been around forever. Yes, it has. They're releasing it now at a larger scale, and it is dangerous. And as far as foreign nations getting to it faster than us, that's unwarranted. That's not even an issue. So to speak on that, it's someone that it's to not have the information they need. As far as policing, I will say that as a military member or someone that follows orders, I think with policing, what we're saying is, if you're gonna swear to an oath, my oath is to the people. And if I am there to protect them, I need to protect them. So their life comes before mine. If I'm going to address a situation, I need to think of them before I think of myself. And that's what I did in the military. That's what everybody I know who serves that way. And I also heard that we give 40% to the police department. What if we decrease that number, not by much, or maybe by much, and afford more to programs that would help the youth, help people, to keep that out of there? I'm not saying to strip the police department. I'm just saying to incorporate that percentage to programs that would help, and maybe, help the community, if you will, to inform them of different things, civics or programs that would help with trades, or just giving them opportunities that are available to them. Afford them the opportunity to learn more about AI, if you will, because we know that some people need to learn more about that because they're misinformed. Just things like that. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here for public comment?
Hello. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm going to make this really short. I know it's late.
Could you just give your name?
Sure. My name's Andrani Foster Samuel. And
And your municipality, sorry.
that's
The city
Mill
of
Creek?
Erie, or wherever you reside.
Mill
Yeah.
Creek.
Okay.
But I teach in the Erie School District at Erie High School. Hi. So I'm going to make this really quick. So I'm here tonight on behalf of, I hate to bend this, I'm here tonight on behalf of a former student of mine. His name is Makeem Jackson Jr. And he was brought up earlier today by another speaker. He was, I want to say, accosted while he was walking in the street, broad daylight. Just the woman who filmed the incident stated that she didn't see him do anything wrong. And he was searched, he was detained, he was put in a holding cell. His mom's out of town, so I'm just pretty much here speaking on her behalf and his as well. It's really sad. It was sad for me to see because I had him as a freshman when he first started at Erie High. And I saw him graduate, I saw him grow up, and then just finish school, excellent kid, everybody loved him. And just to see that happen kind of broke my heart because I care about all my kids. That's why I teach. And yeah, I just wanted to bring that to you guys' attention. I think it was really unfair because I know him personally. As I said, I taught him for 4 years, and I've known him really well. His mom is an excellent mom. She really cares about her kids. And just her being so far away, you know, I could just hear the pain in her voice when I spoke to her. And yeah, I hope that this just stops. It needs to stop. He's just one of many that this is happening to, and I don't know why. And it needs to stop. The police need to be held accountable. There has to be some kind of accountability so that this stops. And if there's no accountability, then there's no reason for anything to stop. It's kind of like a bad kid, right? If you don't teach them consequences, they're not going to learn anything. So, unfortunately, some of us adults, we never learn accountability for whatever reason. And so we grow up, and maybe on the outside, we might be adults, but on the inside, we're still thinking like a child. We still have the mentality of a child. So I really think that it's important to recognize these things and not just look at the exterior and say, well, oh, this is an adult, or oh, this is a cop, they must know what they're doing. That's not always the case. We have to judge on a case-by-case basis and on an individual basis. And it's just the reality of the world that we live in, right? It's never what you see on the outside. It's what's on the inside that counts. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say. I'm just really hurt by what happened to him because he's a good kid. And his family deserves justice. His mom deserves justice. He deserves justice. He did not deserve to be treated the way he was treated. Thank you.
Dr. Titus, can I just ask a question? Ma'am, I'm sorry. So can I ask you a favor? So in the back, sitting, she's going to raise her hand. She'll have a card for you. Can you just get in touch with my office? We've not heard this name before tonight. So I want to make sure that we help if a complaint needs to be filed, that one is filed. So if you talk to her, she'll give you the information, and then we'll be in touch to make sure that can be done.
Thank you so much.
Okay?
I'll
Yep.
do that now. Thank you, Mayor.
Is there anyone else here for public comment? Anyone else here for public comment? Anyone else here for public comment? Okay, this will conclude the public comment section.
Ordinances for final passage?
I'm sorry, Larry, I'm going to go into what, this is always a really abrupt transition to go from having our community members be up here, be raw, and be vulnerable, immediately into the business part. So we need to get through the business part so we can get into our council reports so that we can then respond back. It always feels very obtuse for us to do that, but I do need to just call it out, and I apologize. Go ahead, Lori.
Ordinances for final passage, Council File Number 16-625, Official Ordinance 45-2026, an ordinance amending the City of Erie zoning ordinance to designate the former Foreman Block property located at 1013-1015 State as historic structures pursuant to Article 7 of the City of Erie zoning ordinance, and to amend the zoning map to reflect such designation. Sponsored by Councilmember Horton, seconded by Councilmember Schaaf. The Council File Ordinance 16-625, and now known as Official File Ordinance 45-2026, be finally passed by City Council. Members Brzezinski?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Horton?
Yes.
Pohl?
Yes.
Schaaf?
Yes.
Titus?
Yes.
City Council passed official file ordinance 45, 2026, finally by yea 6, nay 0. Council file number 16, 626, official ordinance 46, 2026, an ordinance amending the City of Erie zoning ordinance to designate the William and Mary Spencer House located at 519 West 6th Street, Erie, Pennsylvania, as historic structure pursuant to Article 7 of the City of Erie zoning ordinance and to amend the zoning map to reflect such designation. Sponsored by Councilmember Horton, seconded by Councilmember Schaaf, the Council File Ordinance 16, 626, and now known as Official File Ordinance 46, 2026, be finally passed by City Council. Members Brzezinski?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Horton?
Yes.
Pohl?
Yes.
Schaaf?
Yes.
Titus?
Yes.
City Council passed Official File Ordinance 46, 2026, finally by yea 6, nay 0. Council File Number 16, 627, Official Ordinance 47, 2026, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $435,000 from unappropriated fund balance in the Liquid Fuels Fund for the expenditure thereof. Funds will be used for the supplies and consumables for the 2026-27 winter season. Sponsored by Councilmember Schaaf, seconded by Councilmember Horton. The Council File Ordinance Bill Number 16, 627, and now known as Official File Ordinance 47, 2026, be finally passed by City Council. Members Brzezinski?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Horton?
Yes.
Pohl?
Yes.
Schaaf?
Yes.
Titus?
Yes.
City Council passed Official File Ordinance 47, 2026, finally by yea 6, nay 0. Council File Number 16, 628, Official Ordinance 48, 2026, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $280,000 from unappropriated and unanticipated revenue for the expenditure thereof, the contributions from the local businesses, and used to fund expenditures associated with the City of Erie Police Department's ShotSpotter subscription. The system provides real-time alerts to assist officers with a quicker response time. The expenditures are associated with the Erie Police Department. Sponsored by Councilmember Horton, seconded by Councilmember Schaaf. The Council File Ordinance Bill Number 16, 628, and now known as Official File Ordinance 48, 2026, be finally passed by City Council. Members.
Councilor Horton.
Yeah, I'm a strong advocate for this. I heard what the young men said, and I did some research, and I understand the in a lot of cities, urban areas, they are disproportionately, in most instances, placed in minority neighborhoods, or i.e. high crime neighborhoods. And I want to say that I lived in Los Angeles, and I've probably been through 40 of the 50 states. And I've been around long enough to know that this is Erie and not Chicago or Detroit. And Erie has a footprint that lends itself to a tool like that. I also happen to know firsthand of a couple of specific incidents where spot shotter were very important in solving the crime and setting up crime. And as a former police officer who comes from a family of law enforcement officers, I think that any tool that would lend itself, and oftentimes it's the first step in holding someone accountable in an environment where people don't always want to come forward or witness or cooperate for a myriad of reasons. But I know right here in Erie, and if you want to know off record, the two specifically that I know spot shotter was there, and they were very, very recent. They were able to get there and make an arrest on scene. And the other one, there was no witness. They were able to pinpoint it right to in front of the residence, and they were able to knock on the door and go in and get the perpetrator. And I think that any tool that steps in the right direction of holding someone accountable, when families don't always get accountability, when not, it's just not shots fired, but when there are people actually hit and killed. I think it can be a first leg of accountability, and we should use any tool at our disposal to hold those who would fire or discharge firearms in public spaces and prohibited places. And so I'm strongly, and I'm asking my colleagues, I'm asking you, would you support us in this offer? We're all aware of what goes on in the city of Erie. The gentleman wants to know where some of them are located. I know where a couple are located. We certainly could talk about it. But I strongly, I'm a strong advocate for Spot Shotter, even with the equity issues. Again, Erie is just almost a perfect footprint where you could actually wrap your arms around it, where you can obtain some outcome-based measurement. We're kind of, and I'm not looking at this myself personally as a permanent fixture in our tool belt, but I think it deserves some merit to consider and see how it goes. So thank you.
Councilor Brzezinski.
What he said.
Councilor Shaw.
Yes, this year, a colleague friend of mine was shot in broad daylight and killed with another person who she was with in Chicago. And I don't know, when I was reading, they had not found the killer, but perhaps if they did, they would have caught the person, because she was a young woman who had a family and was the sweetest person on earth. And it just broke my heart when she passed away. Thank you.
I just wanted to make a comment that as somebody who is always questioning additional expenses for the police department, as I've been on council these last 4 years, that in my time, the Spot Shotter has not been funded by our specific city budget tax funds. They've been funded by grants from the federal or the state government. Now, as I've been on council for 4.5 years, I know that when it comes to public safety, we receive funding from the state and federal government every year for grants that we apply for. So I'm not against this, and I also know that with us trying to get the local business and the nonprofit sectors to give us a little bit more help with finances, that they are more willing to give us money for public safety. So these funds specifically are coming from local businesses that we've gone to and said, hey, you're not paying what we feel as though is the full amount of taxes, and we're going to have to either increase or find additional means to receive funding. Would you help us pay for something for the police? And this is how we've been able to get these funds. So I'm not against it. I'm going to continue to question additional expenses for the police, because as I had stated in our caucus, 40% of our yearly budget goes to our police department. Everybody loves the police. Everybody wants to be safe. But when it comes time to make sure that we have the funds to pay them, everybody puts up their hands. So if we don't want any additional tax increases for property taxes, we're going to have to question 40% of that budget is going to the police, and everybody wants to feel safe when they're in the city of Erie. So what do? Advocating to the local businesses and getting their buy-in is how we're trying to do the pasting. But at the end of the day, I know that we're going to receive additional funds in the future from the state and federal government for this. So I'm going to continue to question, but I also want other people to question it as well. Thank you.
For me personally, I agree with a great deal of what my colleagues have shared. I know that violence is on the rise. We know that there are many families who've endured unimaginable harm. We know that there are specific members of our community, specifically black members and brown members of our community, who are over-policed and targeted. I support and I understand the best that I can as somebody who is a white person. However, I'm still not in support of this technology because of the harm that it's caused and some of the faulty data that it has provided. So even though I support and understand what my colleagues are presenting, I will be voting no, as I don't trust the specific company. And with that, we'll go ahead and call for the vote.
Councilmember Brzezinski?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Horton?
Yes.
Pohl?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
Titus?
No.
City Council pass official file ordinance 48, 2026, finally by yeas 5, nays 1. Ordinances for first reading. Council File Number 16629, an ordinance appropriating a sum of $10,000 from unappropriated and unanticipated revenue to be received from a community partnership grant administered by the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, the DCNR, and providing for the expenditure thereof. Sponsored by Councilmember Schaaf, seconded by Councilmember Titus, that Council File Ordinance 16629, having been read, is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Members Brzezinski?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Horton?
Yes.
Pohl?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
Titus?
Yes.
City Council read and adopt Council File Ordinance 16629 by yeas 6, nays 0 on first reading. Council File Number 16630, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $25,000 from unappropriated and unanticipated revenue for the expenditure thereof. Its contribution is from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, acting through the Pennsylvania Historical and Museum Commission, PHMC, and from the Keystone Historic Preservation Grant. Sponsored by Councilmember Schaaf, seconded by Councilmember Titus. The Council File Ordinance 16630, having been read, is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Members Brzezinski?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Horton?
Yes.
Pohl?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
Titus?
Yes.
City Council read and adopt Council File Ordinance 16630 by yeas 6, nays 0 on first reading. Council File Number 16631, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $25,000 from unappropriated and unanticipated revenue for the expenditure thereof. The contribution is from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, acting through the Pennsylvania Historical Museum Commission, PHMC, from the FFY 2025 Certified Local Government Grant. Sponsored by Councilmember Schaaf, seconded by Councilmember Titus. The Council File Ordinance 16631, having been read, is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Members Brzezinski?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Horton?
Yes.
Pohl?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
Titus?
Yes.
City Council read and adopt Council File Ordinance 16631 by yeas 6, nays 0 on first reading. This takes us to old business. We've already done items number 1, so we need to move on to item number 2 and 3. We have a resolution sponsored by Councilmember Horton, seconded by Councilmember Schaaf. The proper city officials are hereby authorized and directed to enter into an easement agreement with J&M Group, Inc., 1013 State Street, for an outdoor dining easement, index 152002-206. The dining area is within the State Street right-of-way in accordance with the drawing submittals. The dining area's footprint is 5 feet wide by 27.5 feet long. Discussion? Voting on the resolution, Council Members Brzezinski?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Horton?
Yeah.
Pohl?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
Titus?
Yes.
Resolution passes yeas 6, nays 0. Number 3, proper city officials are hereby authorized and directed to enter into an easement agreement with J&M Group, Inc., 1015 State Street, for an outdoor dining easement indexed 152002-207. The dining area is within the State Street right-of-way in accordance with the drawing submittals. The dining area's footprint is 5 feet by 27.5 feet long. Discussion? Voting on the resolution, Members Brzezinski?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Horton?
Yeah.
Pohl?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
Titus?
Yes.
Resolution passes yeas 6, nays 0. This takes us to new business.
All right, at this point, I'd like to call for a motion to move the balance.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilor Pohl and a second by Councilor Flores. Are there any separations? No separations, Lori.
Okay, voting to move the balance of the agenda, Members Brzezinski.
Yes.
Flores.
Yes.
Horton.
Yeah.
Poll.
Yes.
Schaaf.
Yes.
And Titus. The resolution all pass, yea 6, nay 0. This takes us to committee reports.
All right, we'll go ahead and start with Councilor Pohl.
It was a busy couple of weeks. I'm sorry, I couldn't get to everything. It's a busy time of the year, I guess. The Port Authority received the Pacesetter Award from the U.S. Department of Transportation for international shipping through the Great Lakes. That was given to them on the Bayfront at a press conference last week. And I hope for their continued success with that. I attended Water Reserve Aggregate Board pension meetings last week where on the agenda they went with a different, I'm sorry, been a long night. The manager for their investments, switching from Clearbridge to Vanguard. And what that did, just doing that, was to lower some of the fees that they were being charged. So the pension could build a little more. We had a study session with PAL program, and they explained more because some of council had questions on how they're funded. And it doesn't really cost the city any money. The officers that are involved with that get paid their portion from the city, just as officers. The rest is funded by either grants or people that donate to them through fundraising, or the drug and alcohol program through the county, and they fund a big portion of that. I think they do a lot of good. The one woman that came up said that some kids are falling through the cracks, so maybe we can take a closer look at that to see how we can better serve all the kids. We had a press conference. The county had a press conference last week for the Erie County Opportunity Zone 2.0. And that's goes together with the county, state, local, and federal government that are all in support of that. And hopefully we can get things moving again with housing a lot of the county, not just city, but countywide. Celebrate Erie was last weekend already. Seems like it takes a big build-up and a lot of work, and then it's over. But I think this year, I've been through a lot of Celebrate Erie's, working and not with either the chalk walk or information or whatever through the years. And this is the first year for this administration and for the team that ran it this year. Dave Rocco will be missed next year. Hopefully, maybe he'll come back to, supervise a little bit. But I think it went off very well. I like the earlier start times on a lot of things and the earlier end times. And it was more spread out this year. It didn't seem as congested. And I'm sure that the board will take everything into consideration and make adjustments as needed. Also on Sunday, I attended the Guns and Hoses softball game, their annual softball game that is a fundraiser for mental health awareness in Erie. And it's sad to say it wasn't well-attended, but the Bear threw out the first pitch. That was exciting. There was a lot of talent between the two teams. Sorry, Chief Trott. He had it off here. But the Erie Police Department did win the game. And that's it for this.
Thank you. Councilor Flores?
Thank you. I just wanted to say that, with summer winding down, we start getting back into the swing of things, and sadly, the summer months do go by so quickly because we have so many different things to participate in, and we get invited to a lot of things, so sometimes we're able to make it to everything, but sometimes we're not. So those of us who were able to make it to Celebrate Erie, it was a great, refreshing event, and you can just see how much the community enjoys the access that we bring to them, whether it's vendors. So hopefully next year's food vendor options are a lot better, because I heard that some people weren't too happy about it, but they did like the layout of the stage and things of that nature, and the ability to walk, sporadically all the way down State Street was nostalgic for people, I guess. That's how it used to be. I just wanted to say that, as Freda had mentioned, the last day to register to vote is October 19th in order to participate in the November 3rd general election. Now, with Pennsylvania, our generals are open to everybody, so you're able to be Democratic, Republican, and Independent, so please make sure you're participating, because this is going to be a big one. I wanted to just be mindful and bring awareness to fire safety. We've had quite a few fires, and I did see over on the news this past weekend we had another one. A mobile home was completely taken out. So I just want us to be aware of the fire safety. With us having a lot of dated housing, that sometimes we might think that our electrical grid can handle more than what it can. So just, if we could prevent a tragedy in our own homes, let's just make sure we're doing the work, because once you have that tragedy, you're kind of just picking up the pieces, and I've seen a lot of people have to pick up pieces lately, and that's devastating in itself. I also wanted to say, can we please be more conscientious of pedestrian access and safety when we are driving with school picking up? We're going to have to be more mindful for students who are not paying attention to us, but we have to be paying attention to them. I do see a lot of adults that just come into the roadway at a green light, so it's just, if we can prevent a tragedy, let's prevent a tragedy. I know that they have the right of way, and we know that we have the right of way in a green light, but let's just work together, because Erie is small. We do know everybody, or we know of everybody, so let's just do our part to keep our community safe. And then this week, the Seawolves are back in our city. We have some home games. Tomorrow is Thursday, so they have their $2 beers and hot dogs. And then I just wanted everybody to be aware that on Saturday, they are going to be giving a 1,000 fans a football jersey that says the Seawolves on it. So if you make it to a Seawolves game, you might have to be there a couple hours early to get your jersey, but it is something nice to have. They do a really great job of giving merchandise to incentivize their fans, so that's a great way to wind down the summer. I do believe it is one of the last home games that we're going to have, so if you're able to make it to a baseball game in the city in August, it is a great experience, and I do recommend that you do that. And that is all I have to report.
Thank you. Councilor Brzezinski?
Thank you. Normally, I should have said this before the pledge, but it was too raw, I guess. Anybody who has worked at GE in the last 50 years knows the Kabasinski family. We lost Eddie a couple days ago. He was one of the middle brothers. Butch, Lenny, all of them worked at GE. Michael was the youngest, and he decided to become a policeman. He retired as a captain out there in Mill Creek. No blood, but definitely family. And there's a lot of folks out there feeling kind of sad, because I bump into people that I never even thought about a connection. I went to a party with a bunch of old guys celebrating their 80th birthdays from prep. I was just sitting with one of the guys that I didn't really know that well. He told me he retired from GE. I mentioned Ed's name. He knew him. Anyway, that's enough for that. Other than that, I asked a question about Ainsworth Field, and I again just mentioned it again because I want the folks to become really aware of it. There's a lot of things that could be done. In the past, we talked about renovating it. We fixed it up a little bit, and now it's kind of going the other way. Kids shouldn't lose a field like that. It's a beautiful place. The question I asked was, if we designated it as a historical place, would we be able to get some type of finances, grants or whatever, to bring it back to its glory? Roosevelt School isn't there. That's where you hit the home runs off the wall and they came back at you. But it's still a beautiful place. There's tennis courts over there also. We can't let it die, and I, for one, will keep on bringing it up so it doesn't go away. My mind is slipping. The head of the baseball boosters, very high, are in on it too. They're going to have a little thing. Mayor, what, 4 o'clock on Friday? 4 o'clock on Friday. If you're around, stop and see it, but don't cry. It'll get better. It was a beautiful, beautiful field. Thank you much. That's all I got.
Thank you. Councilor Horton?
Thank you, Dr. Titus. Has been a lot going on. So let me just start off by saying we attended National Night Out, which is always a great thing in the community to see people come out and neighbors being neighborly with each other. I only made a couple of them. In years past, I've tried to make as many as I possibly can. Over at the county, I had like 7 of them that were in my district alone, but I only attended 2 this past year. We had a redevelopment authority meeting. Redevelopment discussed potential project on 22nd and Holland towards German, where they're going to build 6 homes, potentially. There was a lot of, I'll combine the two because the Planning Commission, they skirted some of this in the July meeting as well, and they came up with 2 different types of homes. One is more of a, they call it the Clevelander, and the other one I forget, but the Clevelander is like a ranch-style home that's ADA modified. The other are 2-story. They appear to be, there was some discussion about moving the window to make it more balanced. The yards seem to be rather small, but the thing that really, jumps off the paper at you is new construction costs. And new construction costs to build one of those units are like $380,000 of new construction. And so we know here in the city of Erie what our median income brackets are. We know it's up on 22nd and German and Holland currently. And so even with all the grants or ways that they're figuring out how to supplement it, we know that no one can afford a $300,000 house for the people that they're in them to, so they're going to try to get them down to $169,000, which is really still kind of. So they have to weigh some things for far as new construction and rehabilitating or remodeling. I think if you're going to spend $100,000, $300,000 on a house that can be remodeled for $120,000, I think we ought not move so fast. It's going to be kind of complicated because it's tied up in the community land trust, which is actually getting ready to start resuming meetings. I know it's kind of a big thing. It's backed by Infinite Erie. We also talked about it, like I said, at the Planning Commission. So I've got to watch and sit through the presentation, the video slide deck a couple times, and I also had the opportunity to review the hard copy of the thing that was distributed to me. I'm excited about redevelopment authorities reaching out to community partners, such as Erie's Black Wall Street. who has expressed an interest in acquiring and developing properties that can support home ownership and neighborhood revitalization. I just want to digress a little bit back to talk about the Community Land Trust. And I want to be very, very open and honest with all of you. Black home ownership in Erie County, in the city of Erie, is abysmal. It's damn near criminal. And so the Community Land Trust might work in other neighborhoods, and we're going down that road. But when I purchased my house or homes, lock, stock, and barrel. And this seems to be like a glorified savings program in that they have a 99-year lease, which I don't see as home purchasing. I think that if a person should leave that lease, they cannot get market value for their home. They can only withdraw the equity that they built in that home. And so when you talk about black home ownership, the two don't kind of run together and stuff. And so I also thought 2 years ago when they were talking about creating this nonprofit that you didn't have to reproduce the will. I thought that the Housing Authority certainly has scattered sites. And so it kind of looked like a land grab, because I'm old enough to remember when the people from the neighborhood can go down and buy purchase homes from the tax sale until we brought the land bank in, and now they get like what's left after the municipalities, authorities, commissions, or whatever grab them, and so then you get the blighted, the worst of the worst. I thought that created more home ownership opportunities than the Community Land Trust. And you don't have to take my word for it. If you don't know a lot about it, you should go down and try to inform yourself about, because something about a 99-year lease and you're calling it home ownership just don't go together. They don't have the rights to the land, the mineral rights, or any of that. And I bet you if you own your home, none of that stuff ever impacts your home ownership. And so if a person's family or whatever gets it, they could be there 25, 30 years, and whatever happens, say we have to leave that lease, and the market value could be way up here, but they'll only be able to draw their equity. And the reason it's like that, I should explain, is so that you can keep the rental prices down in a community, and that we don't have out-of-town purchasers or speculators such as we have already coming in, gulping up all the projects. So it's not a perfect thing, but it is something that they're going down that path, and it's going to come before us, and so you should educate yourself on it. And what else did I do? I went to the PAL study session. I attended the Planning Commission meeting by Zoom yesterday, and I learned some stuff there. I'm still kind of digesting that. I'm going to have to go back and look at that again. And finally, I did go to the Parking Authority meeting, because that's kind of where my vibe is these days, and I will be attending. And I will not be sitting there being quiet, and I do understand the negotiations that we're under, but I do intend to be fully in front of that board and their director, reminding them of the status and the business that we have at hand, and how very important and imperative it is that we do not delay, but that we take care of it and we deal with it right now. And finally, I said some of this in caucus. I don't have a legality to stand on, so to say, because they're an autonomous authority, but I requested, just to put it on the public doctrine, that I don't think that they should be. I asked that they not consider any new capital improvement projects, and that they not consider purchasing any more parking ramps or anything, or make any major decisions until we rectify this situation. And I feel so strongly about it, because their debt is our debt. Anything that they do, it falls back on us. And I can't, I think that if we're going to be good partners and good teammates and go down that road together, we need to have some mutual understanding about how this business is going to be conducted, and we need to be made whole. So thank you that's my reports.
Councilor Shaw?
Thank you, Dr. Titus. I went to celebrate Erie and had a lot of fun. Thank you, Mayor Devlin and your administration and Hunter Lytle and the cafe and Dave Rocco and the firefighters that were there with the fire truck that the kids and people could see and maybe get hyped up about firefighting. And the police, of course, were there, and all the sponsors that made this event happen. I saw the Saturday night and the Sunday evening performance and thought the bands were awesome and amazing. I attended the City Planning Commission meeting on Tuesday where I spoke, the Erie Land Bank meeting where I spoke on Monday. Last Thursday was Parking, Tow, and Review Board, and the solicitors meeting also last Wednesday. The Zoning Hearing Board has a new president. Thank you, Mr. Johnson, I believe. You were the former president, and now the new president is Ms. Selena King. And thank you for all the board members on all of the boards, because we know you do not get paid. This is all volunteer time, and some of those meetings can be quite lengthy. Yesterday, I was at the Sewer Authority meeting, which was at 11 a.m. The study session on Pels I attended, and I believe they said they have like 1,000 kids. So that's awesome. I do know 2,000 kids. I do know some individuals who are a part of PALS, and they really, really like it. So I'm thankful for that program. The Erie redevelopment is getting the lead out of homes, and they still have grant money available if you are someone who has young people in your house, or young people who are regularly at your house. You can get the lead out of your house. That is definitely something very much needed. I'm looking forward to celebrating my Polish ethnic heritage at Zabawa this weekend. My husband is a car enthusiastic person, and he works on our Thunderbird that he has, that he got during COVID, and that really helped him. And so now he likes to show it off Mondays at Liberty Park for people of all car enthusiasts. It's not just antique cars. They have roadster cars, Porsches and Jaguars or whatever. It's just nice walking around, listening to the music. This Friday, the Mr. Lyons, who sponsors the car event on State Street for Friday evening. If you want to see a lot of different kinds of cars and makes and roadsters, this is a fun family event that has cars from 4th and State up to 13th Street. And Carol Troop, Mo's mom at Odessa's Place, has an event on Saturday, and it's called Odessa's Place Ministry Annual Back to School Supply Giveaway, August 22 from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Location is 628 West 18th Street, and if you would like to donate or volunteer, you can contact Mo Troop or her on Facebook. And My friend Daryl Craig has the Blue Coats event that is also at the same time here at Perry Square. And last year, they had over 500 people in attendance throughout the day, and they gave away 12 bicycles, and they raffled off $500 in gift cards and offered free food by way of a food truck. And the Blue Coat team is there, and they had ice cream last year, and they had a band last year, Familiar Spirit, and their highlight of the day was giving out 150 book bags filled with supplies that were given away. So it's all great. It's the Back to Basics, Back to School Bash. That is, so both of those events are on Saturday, August 22nd. And they're also, the Back to School Bash on Perry Square is also at 11 to 3 p.m. So we have our first day of school coming up next week, Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday, public schools start August 25th. And thank you, Jasmine, for mentioning baseball. I'm going to the Seawolves game this week. I was at 8 Great Tuesdays on Tuesday, and I have been attending those. And that's definitely a great free place to be. Sure, you get scanned, but that keeps you safe. So lately we've had a group of high school girls or girls in their 20s or something, but it reminded me of myself because I hung out with a group of kids when I was younger back in the day, and we liked to do things like music. So it's for people who like music and like the sunset and enjoy resting and relaxing. So I hope people, I noticed as I drive by East 6th Street near Parade, there is that beautiful park with the community artists that involved the community into designing that park. And we had the ribbon cutting not too long ago. It goes from 6th Street to 7th Street. And as I drive by, I notice people sitting on the benches because I am all about having benches. So thank you. I did want to say something. We have to be careful driving. I'm really looking forward to when I turn 65 by the end of this year and getting a bus pass. So I was driving on Parade Street this week, and I was on the inside lane. The person next to me on the outside lane decided to do a U-turn right in front of me to go the other way. We can't do that. That is not a legal move. And also, Bayfront Highway, there are speeders there, and it's always at night, so you can't see them too clearly. And people race. I see it. They race each other. And today, and I'm not saying this to belittle anyone, but again, you're not allowed to do this, so try to find a different kind of transportation. But there was a person, again, on the Bayfront Highway, in that little tiny, I don't know what even to call them. It's a motorized vehicle, mini bike. My brother had mini bikes back in the day. And it's really, really low to the ground. And this was an adult, oversized person, and they're not licensed, and no helmet, and the Bayfront Highway, and that's how people's lives are taken. You're putting everybody in a dangerous situation. And it's just, I know the sad times that we live in about just getting on these motorized bicycles and motorized anything to get from place to place. So I hope everyone has a great beginning of the school year. As a former teacher, if anyone wants me to go and say rah rah as they come in from school, get a hold of me and I'll try to be there. I like to give high fives out. Thank you.
Thank you. So the Convention Authority meets tomorrow at 3, and then the Airport Authority meets the following week at 12. So I will have more on both of those to report out at our next meeting. It is our back to school. Several counselors have talked about that. So just being mindful. I had the honor of being chair of a nonprofit. This year alone, we've received almost 3 times the amount of requests for assistance that we've ever received in the past. And we're a small nonprofit. We're not able to meet those needs. So our community members are clearly hurting. And I know that we have a lot of nonprofits and just a lot of individuals who step up and really try to help. I commend everyone who's doing their part. And this is my call to action on not just the nonprofits, but also our local businesses to please, if you have extra, to please be helping. Reach out to some of the teachers who I know who are buying supplies for their classrooms. But our community is hurting in a lot of ways, and this is one way that we can be giving back to a lot of our students as they enter into this school year. I definitely heard and continue to hear the call out around community policing, especially when it comes to PALS, and just want to reiterate what we had said in our study session, that PALS is one part, and we know that PALS also needs some fine tuning with how the programs are, how students are selected to participate. The goal of that study session was to really lay out how is PALS funded, so that when we go into this budget cycle, that we have a better understanding of where the money is coming in and where the money is going out. But that in and of itself is not community policing, and I know that the administration is on that same page, and we'll probably talk and touch on this as well. That's just one small piece of this. And so we've got a lot of work to do. We've got a lot of work to do. And then, so that I'm not misspeaking, if you wouldn't mind, Mayor, when you are giving yours, if you could just touch a little bit on the current state of the committee that we had the meeting with last week, that'd be wonderful. And then we do have our housing town hall. We had a resident who did touch on. It's very unfortunate that there are a couple overlapping, that I think that there would be residents who are going to want to be at both of those. The housing town hall, September 1st, Tuesday, 6 to 8 at Strong Vincent. It will be for homeowners, future homeowners, and also tenants, to learn how to, what programs do we have available in the city, but then also how to be a good neighbor, and then to know your rights as well as somebody who is renting or seeking to buy. And then in closing, I know I talked about this last time, but I have to keep touching on this. With my day job, I see it firsthand with the amount of individuals who are losing access to their insurance. We will easily in the city of Erie have a few thousand of individuals who no longer have access to medical benefits, which is going to further exacerbate many of the crises that we're talking about here, interactions with police, interactions with different systems that we have here, because that's what happens when people don't have access to medical care and the services that they need. Health in all capacities starts to decline. And so again, this is a call, not just the nonprofits, but also the businesses, that this is going to be a full community effort. Our budget, as we have put on display, is very constrained. And we are pretty limited in what we provide here. Many of these services come from the county and through the county, but they are also on unlimited funds. So it is going to take all of us to start addressing and to show up for our neighbors and those around us, making sure that we know what is happening in the houses beside us, that we're checking in, especially on our elderly neighbors, those who live alone, to make sure that they have transportation, they're getting access to the things that they need. And I know all of us are hurting, but this is definitely a time for us to be connecting with with our neighbors in a very strong way. And with that, I will go ahead and conclude my report.
Just dealing with the waterfront conditional use, I'm going to send you guys an email probably by Friday so that we can talk about when we want to do that, also to deal with the resolution we need to draft, and if there's any thoughts of what you want in that. Okay, so I need you to be kind of watch out for that, and I'd ask you to please respond. I have some other emails I'll send, but I'm not going to mention what they're about.
Thank you, Dr. Titus. Council, couple of updates. I want to start with the school theme. I really am proud of our Employee Activities Committee who put together a school supply drive. If you've seen it around City Hall, they've been collecting from employees. So really grateful to them and their work. This is just extra that they take on, and we appreciate them. On the topic of employees as well, we are having an employee picnic for the employees of the City of Erie. It's going to be held on September 4th, so we're going to be closing City Hall at 2 o'clock that day. We think it's appropriate on a Friday to allow those that can, and not all of our employees can. We certainly have some of our employees who can't leave their post, essentially, but for those who can, we'll be celebrating with them actually out at Downing Golf Course, which we own, and so that will be a good way to celebrate our employees that afternoon. And lastly, on the topic of our amazing employees, I just want to add my thanks on Celebrate Erie. You've all thanked them, and I talked in council, but one group that I don't think was named here in the main meeting tonight was just Public Works. Incredible amount of work by streets and by our electricians, and just incredible. So I really want to say to them and to all the employees who worked so hard for Celebrate Erie, we certainly appreciate you. We did have this week our Change.org civic dialogue. You might have seen some of the work on Change.org we did. The topic that came to the top was affordable rental housing. So I kicked off this week an online conversation that Change.org facilitated with about 100 residents. I just did the opening. They then facilitated and then will send us the comments, and that's to help us inform policy around affordable rental housing. So more to come on that, but it seemed to be very well attended. The participants were chosen at random, so hopefully we got to hear from many different voices. I did participate last night in a town hall with the African American Concerned Clergy. I want to thank Pastor Ryan Gaines and the other African American Concerned Clergy, as well as Pastor Anthony Harris from Shiloh Baptist, which hosted. It was a really good conversation about the well-being of our Black and brown community. We had a whole bunch of topics that we discussed, and they'll be asking me to return in about 6 months to report out on the things we talked about. So I want to thank them for hosting me, and for those that came. I thought it was a really good conversation. I want to finish here by the topic of policing, and yes, Dr. Titus, I want to answer the questions. First of all, with regard to the name that was brought up tonight, I know everyone knows that the concern around the prison is not our concern. I mean, it's not under our jurisdiction. That does not prevent us from asking questions. So I will be asking questions of the county executive. Actually already did while we were sitting here. So that is one I want people to know. We will be asking questions about that resident. The other one who was approached by the City of Erie Police, I want to ask people to please file police complaints. The only way that we know that these things are happening beyond social media videos is when complaints are filed formally. So I just want to remind everyone that is the way. It's posted on our website. The process is there. The form is there. You can do it on the phone, in person, online. Please, if you have a concern about how someone was treated by the police, the only way we can deal with it is if you file a complaint. And I want to address the topic about the Mayor's Council on Community Policing, on Community Safety and Trust. Yes, we convened that council a little over a week ago. Dr. Titus was there along with Councilor Horton as the police liaison. I was doing a rough count while I was sitting here to make sure I had the numbers. Roughly 24 people were invited to that council. Of those, 15 are community members, so 9 law enforcement, 15 community members. Of the 15, 7 are people that have been participating in the old version of the other administration's councils. 8 are new voices. We reached out to those new voices based on them reaching out to us, or recommendations from others, or just the fact that we felt we needed some different and new voices. So just want to be very clear about that. We have not released the names of those folks because, to be quite honest, this work is intense and sensitive, and we are coming around a table to build something together. And in the first meeting, which was almost 2 hours long, we just scratched the surface of beginning to have very, very difficult conversations. And so outing people and naming names before we even know who is going to stay with us does not feel appropriate. So no one is trying to hide, and if we can have a conversation about it, but that's why we haven't been public about who's on this, because everyone's still deciding. And we heard from some of the members of that council, from the community, they're concerned about participating with us. They're concerned it might lead to them being targeted. They're concerned about how they might look in their community. So we are trying to be respectful of everyone. And I will tell you, and you can ask Dr. Titus and Councilor Horton, these were not easy conversations. We are scheduling the next meeting for the first week of September, and we will keep going. As I've said, there are 3 focuses of that council. Number 1, to review the policy and practice of the Erie Police Department. Number 2, to provide a forum for incident review. When we have an incident like the Kevin Sparks case, we can bring it before this council and we can review it together. And thirdly, to create a strategic plan to implement long-lasting ways to develop trust in our community. So we don't just come around tables and talk. We talk about how to change culture, how to go out and build trust, how to deal with our recruitment issue. We are going to rely on this council to bring us solutions, and that is the work of the council. It is just beginning. And I want to close by saying this. Something that came up, I think, in that first meeting that was very relevant and really touched me was we are functioning on the history of so much that has come before us. And that is the reality. And so when we sit and come around a table, we're not just bringing our thoughts, our feelings, our experiences, we're also bringing all this history into the room. And peeling that back and trying to address many, many, many years of mistrust and distrust takes a minute. And it's difficult, and we're facing it, and the conversations are tough, but they're honest, and they will continue to be. And I know the community is impatient, and I know people are fed up, and I understand that. But I have to tell you, it's going to take us a minute to try to deal with all of the accumulation that we have right now. So, you can give us grace or not. That's up to you. I understand. But the work is happening. The work will continue to happen. We will continue to report out on it, and we will continue to answer questions about it. But I want council particularly to know that we are addressing those things. And lastly, I didn't say, but want to say, I want to add my wishes as well for the first week of school next week. I was honored to speak at the Convocation for Aries Public Schools yesterday as a alumna, parent, former employee, all of the things. It was a great honor for me to be there. And the message I gave to the teachers and the employees of Erie's Public Schools yesterday was, the city of Erie is counting on you. We need you to do better than you've ever done, to work harder than you've done, because our kids need you and our city needs you. And I feel as mayor, it is my job to say that, and that was the message that I relayed. So I was glad to be there, and I wish them and all of our students a wonderful first week of school next week. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we will go ahead and conclude tonight's meeting.
City Council adjourns at 9:40 p.m. Council members Titus, Brzezinski, Flores, Horton, Pohl,